Yesterday, he was just an ordinary nerd. The girl wondered why he suddenly brought everyone together. Today is a hunting day. At first, the plan was just to collect stones, but patience ran out. Everything changed when he started playing gacha. His life took a completely different direction. The game focused on training talented young women, with every aspect centered on them. Only girls appear in the game. In just 6 months, it reached 10 million downloads. New characters are added all the time. Players spend a lot of money. The newest one is really cute, but he has already run out of money this month. The chance of getting something really good is always very low. Aokur has already spent hundreds of thousands, but keeps going. The goal is to reach Luna-chan. At last, a chest appeared with a guarantee for a very rare item. He felt sure it was Luna-chan. Instead of a girl, there is a strange scroll inviting someone to another world. As expected, another gacha surprise appears. Only one drop is left, hoping it is not a magic card. It turned out to be a real invitation to another world. Using it allows you to go there. Heihachi joked that it is a ticket to a global server. That would be cool. The true nature of the scroll remains unclear. Suddenly, it began to shine with an intense light. In the next moment, the hero found himself in a place he did not recognize at all. Looking around, it became clear that this was not a dream. Everything was really happening. At first, it felt unreal, almost like dreaming. But staying focused is important now. The first thing to do is find shelter. Staying out in the open is not safe because there is little chance of survival if a wild animal attacks. This area could have snakes or even leopards. Looking around, Heihachi noticed something frightening. A real goblin stood right in front and immediately attacked. Whatever it is, something bad is happening. The only option is to run away as fast as possible. Fear pushed him to climb a tree as he tried to make sense of what had just happened. Escaped successfully. It is hard to believe creatures like that are real. This place truly feels like another world. Remembered the invitation. Yes, definitely in another world now. Took the phone out of his pocket. Panic sets in. The main screen does not open, but access to the case with the girl is possible. What is seen there is truly shocking. Beginner level. No units and no items. Everything is empty. There was no understanding of where everything had gone. Decided to stay calm. The phone was the only clue, and it could not be lost. As a beginner, a guaranteed item was coming his way. Many useful things appeared. It was hard to hide the excitement. Luna-chan still did not get what he wanted. However, he received an item that was not included in the girl's case. One bonus feature was local language translation, but using it often caused a serious headache. Even though his head was pounding, the boy realized it did not matter. Moving forward was all that counted. If the items worked as planned, what about the units? He was offered the chance to call Noralfania. He agreed right away. Suddenly, sparks shot out from the phone. Next to it, a real battle helmet appeared. He was sitting in the tree while she first floated in the air and then fell to the ground. The landing was a bit rough, even though he was its first owner. Feeling awkward, she knew she had to share something important. This was not easy. The boy started by introducing himself, but she joked that he should have practiced first. A few more goblins joined the first one, and together they charged at the boy. Stay calm and open your inventory. Choose your weapon and shield. Once everything is ready, move forward. The girl quickly defeated her enemy. Her strength caught him by surprise. Calmly, she told him it was his turn now. He felt scared and asked for help, but Noral trusted that he could manage on his own. The impact could not be avoided. Surprisingly, there was no pain at all. She explained that even if he were hit many times, he would still hold on. Heihachi defeated the goblin. After the battle, the girl suggested they go back to their usual routine. Her name was Noralfania, just Noral for short. Suddenly she fell silent, which made him worry. He grabbed her cheeks, upset that she hadn't given him a moment to prepare. That's how it all started. This marked the beginning of a new life in the world of gacha. On the journey, she became very tired. He saw that Fania was breathing heavily. Thanked for the armor, but felt like passing out, completely unused to it. Agreed that endurance was clearly lacking. They reached the main road and decided to spend the night there. She suggested using the item. A regular camping set that disappears after use. Environmentally friendly. Heihachi agreed that it is convenient. Looking at the tent with interest, he warmed himself by the fire and decided to ask a question. Curiosity sparked as she wondered what he wanted to know. She asked what exactly interested him in this situation. explained that this world is very different and she was brought here to help him. Curiosity grew as he wondered how she knew he was not from around here. It turned out that when summoned, units receive some memories from their summoner. He wanted to know if there are time limits for making a call. In the contract, there are specific rules, but in reality, there is no time limit. The only restriction is the number of units, which depends on the price. So, after Norl is summoned, no one else can be called. The system works the same as in the game. The starting limit is 15 and Norl takes up all 15 spots. If the system stays the same, raising the level should also increase the unit limit. The girl looked at the owner. To avoid getting into complicated issues, she suggested using one of the available items. Excitement lit up her face as she waited for the food. Her happiness surprised him. For her, meals are a real event. She looks forward to them eagerly. A random lunch appeared. After eating, the leftovers turned to ash and disappeared. The taste surprised him. Even she doubted that the gachas could make something edible. The next step was to look for a safe place. Finding a cart to reach the city would have been ideal, but there was little chance of that happening. Norel walked over while he was sleeping deeply. She asked if he was awake. The boy assumed it was his turn for the night watch, but she told him to get up and not complain. He imagined she wanted to spend the night with him, but she was already asking how much longer he would lie there. Monsters from the forest surrounded their camp. They were attacked by enemies, including some orcs. If there were only goblins, handling them would be easy, but the enemies had to be split up. The goblins for him, and the orcs for Norl. She realized handling 2 orcs alone would be difficult. She asked the mage to deal with the goblins as quickly as possible. He was wounded but did not feel any pain. This made things easier. The monsters were amazed by his weapon because it was very powerful. They watched the fight with surprise. It seemed to him that this was not very eco-friendly, but now he could help Norl. Sitting on the stone, he noticed she had already finished. This surprised him because she said she would need help. Maybe the enemies were weaker than she expected. He pinched her cheek. Heihachi apologized, but for some reason, he liked it. She asked him not to do it again. Enemies like these rarely show up here. The boy glanced at Norl. He asked her to carry him. She thought it was embarrassing. He hoped there would be a carriage, but things did not go as planned. Grabbing his hand, she told him to hurry or they would fall behind. The locals found it hard to believe this was the same boy who defeated the goblins yesterday. One of them said they were almost there. They received only 10,000 coins, but the important thing was that they arrived safely. Their help was appreciated. He remembered that items found could be sold in shops. Tonight, he and Norl would stay in a luxury hotel. The girl was already imagining a tasty dinner. Meanwhile, he suggested buying something. While out for a walk, she discovered a place that served yakitori. Spending a bit of money did not matter much. Having some extra cash helped. Still, something else mattered more. Thoughts focused on one thing: how to get the magic stones needed to play gacha. No place to exchange stones appeared. The desire to play was strong, so fingers tapped quickly across the phone screen. Renting 2 rooms cost 4,000 coins. The amount surprised Heihachi. Hoping to save money, he was now left with almost nothing. Sharing 1 room would have cost them only 3,000 coins. The thought of being alone with the girl made the boy feel embarrassed. They booked 2 rooms without meals, but this clearly did not please Norl. She had no problem sharing a room with him. Still, Heihachi tried to explain what this could imply. Without hesitation, she said she wanted to be with him from morning until night. In the end, he agreed to share a single room with her. The reason became clear to him. Norl just wanted to save money on food so she could enjoy a better meal later. She noticed him looking at something. Checking their statuses, it suddenly became clear that something was wrong. The only thing that separated them was 1 level, but their abilities were worlds apart. She had very powerful equipment and felt proud of it. Laughter followed because the equipment effects looked ridiculous. The game creators clearly made some odd choices. Compared to her equipment, it was truly powerful. Norl also mentioned that Excalibur has similar effects. In battle, it shines with a golden glow. Meanwhile, Heihachi just wanted a real sword and shield. The thought crossed his mind about how to charge a phone in this world since there was no charger around. She explained that here, devices get their power from magical energy in the air. In places where there are many monsters, like black orcs, the phone charges even faster. The most important thing is having enough strength to survive there. She acted like a mother. Haichi felt comfortable asking her anything. He wanted to know how to get home. She did not have the answer. She also did not know how to find the magic stones. Regret filled him for trusting her so much. He suggested they go to sleep, but first wanted to ask another question. The question came up about who would use the shower first. Money is already tight for him, but still, a shower costs 300 coins per person, so you have to decide if it's worth it. To return home, the first step is to find a steady source of income. Joining the Adventurers Guild was her suggestion. The next day, they will check everything at the guild. Meanwhile, Noral went to take a shower. After her bath, she looked stunning. Her figure caught his attention right away. Awareness returned when she called his name. He thought she did not need to hide her face. The girl was told not to reveal her face so easily. Laughter came from him, and she noticed it and felt hurt. The next day, their registration at the guild was complete. Now, Haichachi could finally take a proper shower. They received their first assignment, which was a hunting task. At the same time, adventure tokens were received. The color of each token shows its rank. If a token is lost, a fee of 1,000 coins must be paid. He asked Noral not to break his token. However, she did not like being distrusted. The group traveled to the forest outside the city of Brunn. Many orcs and goblins lived there. At first, nobody appeared, but that changed quickly. Suddenly, a whole group of monsters appeared in front of them. Puridono soared through the clouds as Noral announced it was time to hunt. Monsters were appearing in large numbers. It seemed there was a spawn point in the forest. Suddenly, something dark and dangerous showed up. A rare creature appeared. Its presence could be felt even from afar. This was nothing like ordinary enemies. Noral simply swung her sword and the black orc's head dropped to the ground. Black orc meat turned out to be a rare delicacy. Although defeating one was no easy task, the girl was already looking forward to dinner. Meanwhile, something new appeared on Haichachi's phone. This caught Noral's attention and made her come closer. The number of magic stones has gone up. This is so unexpected. Could it really be connected? The rarity of the monster affects how many stones you get. To get more stones, defeat enemies of different rarity. Night fell, but their hunt went on. A few days have passed since Haichachi became an adventurer. The main goal is to collect stones used for playing gacha. Every day, fierce battles took place against the Black Orcs. His rank rose from G to E. The number of stones has reached 50. It is time to start the Heihachi Carnival. Він був у передчутті. Який персонаж йому випаде? Dreams of Luna Chan filled his thoughts, but Noral reminded him that in this world, only ultra-rare and higher levels give you characters. All other levels only offer items. She was glad to have the chance to get UR, but said the chances were low. This was only the second time since arriving in this world. Excitement reached its peak for Heihachi. Mike Chess, super rare, dropped, but it was not what he expected. Wanting an UR, he decided to try spinning again. But where is the buy button? In this gacha world, everything feels too strict. Noral congratulated them on finding a rare treasure. Also, she noticed the weapon she had been looking for. However, disappointment set in for Heihachi when he saw that it was another Excalibur. The system suggested combining the two identical weapons, and he agreed. This option was not available in the game. However, it is clear that collecting stones again is necessary if you want to get UR. He owned something that looked valuable but was actually useless. He told Noral he would give her a really cool gift. She asked if that item had any use at all, but finally admitted it was simply nice. The group set out again to search for the stones. The next day, an urgent task arrived to provide support for the team. The group needs to pass through the forest near the bistro to reach the village of Rubelk. Haichachi wanted to know what kind of forest it was. Walking to the village of Rubelk will take about 2 days. This was his first expedition, but using gacha items made everything manageable. The group had only 3 people. Everyone was already a registered adventurer. If monsters appeared, the same green D-rank adventurer who helped during the orc fight would come to assist. However, Heihachi did not want him to rely on them too much. As long as Noral was there, everything was expected to be fine. Meanwhile, she admired a plush toy. With hardly anyone around, the boy decided to try out an item he received yesterday. The feature made it possible to check another person's status. After comparing the man's level, it became clear that his characteristics were lower than expected. This was surprising. Remembered there was some kind of bonus related to looking at a woman, but the details are unclear. The system actually measured breast size. Norel immediately sensed something was off and wanted to see for herself, while he blushed with embarrassment. Suddenly, a strange noise reached them, much louder than any orc's footsteps. A man came running toward them, shouting that they needed to get away. A giant monster appeared. One horn and one eye belonged to a real cyclops. The man said they should escape too. Taking him down would require at least a C rank. This did not bother Heihachi because there was nowhere to run. The monster had a lot of health and was very strong. If the fight lasted too long, more enemies might appear. Heihachi asked Norel if she was ready. Uncertainty grew as he wondered if it was wise to make decisions so quickly. Still, Norel had a plan. Boosters gave them extra protection and speed. They moved straight toward the monster. Norel activated inspiration, doubling all her abilities for 1 minute. Her combat rank reached over 9,000, enough power to bring down even a cyclops with a single strike. To Heihachi's surprise, he survived. His strength was almost gone. Even Heihachi could finish him off now. Victory seemed certain, but suddenly the monster froze, just as Norel had warned. The cyclops collapsed onto the ground with all his strength. She managed to save the boy, but what she saw left her in shock. The monster's true form became visible. Norel had no helmet on her head and she cried out. Not wanting Heihachi to see her like this, she hid. He handed her the helmet. Embarrassment filled her face and she got ready to leave. Placing his hand on her shoulder, he apologized sincerely, but she began to scream. Pain spread through her entire body and she pushed him away, even though there was no actual blow. Maybe this was a side effect of her ability. When Norel cannot move, the situation is serious. Immediate transport to a medical center is necessary. Heihachi helped Norel settle into the tent, made sure she could rest, and gave her some time to calm down. A heartfelt apology was given for what happened to her face. She assured him that it was not his fault. Curiosity grew about why she wanted to hide her face so much. If she did not want to share, that was fine, but knowing the reason could be important later. She said it would be bad if someone saw her. Then she added that if he drank the potion in the form of a rabbit, he would recover quickly. When someone sees her true self, confidence drops and her voice becomes shaky. The importance of a strong voice to her surprised him. She explained that for a knight, voice is part of who you are. Meeting Okuradono made that clear. She thinks of herself as a bit strange. If he noticed, he would probably just laugh. Today, though, she struck him as especially feminine. Her appearance surprised him, but he realized she was real and alive. Regret quickly followed after speaking those thoughts out loud, leading to a request for them to be forgotten. The girl hugged him and said she would stay with him for the rest of her life. He warned her not to jump so quickly because it might hurt. She did step back for a moment. The next day, Norel fully recovered. The journey continued smoothly. The group arrived safely in the village of Rubelk. The mission was completed. A message has arrived. They need to head back to Runya right away. A new strategy appeared when Norel saw a message on the phone screen about a special offer that gave double the chance to get UR characters. No surprise appeared on her face because it was a typical promotion. Still, he explained that the chance of getting a UR really was twice as high. The event lasts for 10 days. If you try 100 times, you have a chance to get 2 UR characters at once. Each day requires 50 magic stones from Shakhtar. Usually, they only gather about 5. Even after hunting for 10 hours, the most they get is 10. But Heihachi found a way to increase their results to 50. He promised to explain everything now. She had promised to follow him for life, right? So there was no room for objections. This made her feel a bit uneasy. They stepped onto the stones and moved deeper into the forest, beyond the familiar paths. There, they found out exactly where the monsters appear and discovered their spawn point. In the past, they hunted far from the spawns and spent a lot of time traveling. Now the fights happen one after another, much faster. Efficiency increases because Norel can defeat enemies with a single strike. She planned to go to a different spawning ground, but he insisted they should stay together. Moving between places would only waste valuable time and reduce their success. It is more useful to have several spawn points instead of running back and forth between them. They had already found 5 locations. The search was going well, but Norel felt no joy because it meant having to face the orcs again. She felt tired on this very first day and realized the plan would not work without her. Heihachi pleaded with her to keep fighting. She was the only one he could trust. He promised to grant her any wish, and she agreed. A long marathon began as hunters tracked down the black orcs. 6 days have passed since the fighting began without a break. For Noral, defeating orcs every day became part of the routine. Killing an orc every second became her way of life. This behavior started to make Heihachi uneasy. On the 6th day, her obsession still showed. She claimed she was just happy to have a chance to fight. Still, Heihachi sensed there was something else she wanted to say. He asked her to calm down because they were in the city, and she was acting rudely even toward other people. Living without the thought of destroying the orcs had become impossible for her. He suggested going back to the hotel. She really needs a break. The hunts left her tired not just physically but mentally too, and even in her sleep she muttered about orcs. There were 105 stones left. The pace slowed down, but most importantly, Heihachi could no longer ask Noral to do what was impossible. They realized this was the limit of what they could handle. The group set off again across the rocks, this time using a different strategy. The second to last day has arrived. This time, Heihachi will go alone to a different spawn point, while Noral will continue as usual. Still, she felt uneasy because it was dangerous. He explained that if they each hunt separately, it will make things easier for her. Otherwise, they will not finish in 2 days. She agreed, but staying alone still felt scary and unsafe. A black orc was already waiting for him from behind. The final day of the campaign has arrived. At last, all 500 magic stones are collected. Right on the road, the Heihachi Carnival started. With 11 chances in 10 tries, a nervous wait began to see which girl would appear. The first try did not work out, but disappointment did not set in. 9 more attempts remained. The second and third tries brought the best super rare items. They were sure that after this, a UR character would definitely appear. The next card turned out to be a regular super rare, just as expected. With so many stones, Heihachi was hoping to get at least 2 ultra-rare cards. It was disappointing because the 5th, 6th, and 7th tries only gave some very rare items. Noral suggested taking a break, but he said he was fine to keep going. The 8th attempt brought nothing special. According to him, this outcome was still within expectations. Now, only 2 chances remain and still no UR. There were only 2 chances left. Hope was fading. Noral really hoped that at least one of them would be ultra-rare. On the 9th try, only super rare came up again. Frustration grew for Heihachi because the chance was supposed to be doubled. Noral tried to encourage him. He still had 1 more chance. She supported him. Heihachi realized that for the sake of the fishhook, they gave everything they had during these 10 days. For Noral, who has supported him all this time, he knows he must take the final step. Once again, the same scene appears. Disappointment overwhelms him. Heihachi could not understand why he fought at all. Was this really how everything would end? His faith in gacha was gone. If possible, returning to the time before the first discovery would be his choice. All the magical stones would go back as well. Noral calmed him down, saying it was just an unlucky day and things would work out next time. They still had 6 stones left. He found it hard to believe that getting a UR on the first try was possible. Still, she decided to give it a shot herself. Everyone experiences moments like these, and that is where everything begins. She used to be obsessed with UR too. This made Heihachi realize he needed to rethink his actions. Suddenly, an ultra-rare character appeared. She could hardly believe it. It felt like a real miracle. Tears of happiness filled Heihachi's eyes as he ran to embrace her. He was then given the option to summon a stealth character. Noral asked if he truly wanted to summon her. It turned out that she is a powerful mage from UR and actually quite nice, though her personality is a bit difficult. Still, Noral said not to worry since she is here. Agreement came, even though her personality is quite unique. The girl joked that not everyone is lucky enough to be called up straight from the ground. The boy still regretted that failure. Now a new girl stood before them. Realizing she was being called, she noticed that Heihachi was about to introduce everyone. Still, there was silence. So he politely asked her to introduce herself. She replied that they already knew who she was and found it nice. Her confidence surprised them. Heihachi realized she wanted to join them. He asked why. He wondered if there was any benefit. It was hard for him to believe that she might say no. There is no way back. He will stand his ground. She will join the monster hunt. Suddenly, she called him sweet. It was a joke, of course. Her brother seems like an interesting guy, so she will join them. She asked her little brother to look after her. It was officially announced that Heihachi and Noral made it through the marathon and the gacha challenges. Their group of 2 grew to 3. Stell was introduced to the guild administrator as the newest member of the team. Now their group has a new member. Stella said that she doesn't mind if she has to live in the same room. Haichachi agreed, but since he had enough coins, he suggested separate rooms for the boy and the girls. The girls were unhappy with this idea and said it was unfair for the boy to have his own room. Stell preferred having one room for the 3 of them. It was nothing unusual for her, so she asked Haichachi if he minded. Having the chance to be in a room with 2 nice girls was unusual for him. Still, sharing the space with women felt a bit strange. Stell joked that this was almost off limits. She looked at him and thought that no one should be allowed to have such a puppy-like look. Still, he said he did not mind. She promised to make him regret ever doubting before calling her. At first, he did not understand what she meant. She just explained that she had been waiting for the moment when they would share a room. Stell started to rub Noral's hair, but Noral asked her to stop. Stell mentioned that this hairstyle suits her and suggested removing the mask. Noral strongly disagreed, but Stell asked her not to resist. It made her happy to see that they got along well with each other. Before calling Stell, Haichachi felt a bit nervous, but now he realized there was nothing to worry about. After finishing with the gacha items, checking the stats of the Stella seemed like the next step. Started to analyze her skills through the phone. As expected for a mage, she has plenty of mana but not much defense. Her UR gear is once again overpowered. Heihachi also looked into the section about sizes. He was not pleased that she had a small bust. He pretended not to notice anything. Still, Stell became suspicious right away. Haichachi quickly hid his phone because she might have seen the screen. He said he was just looking through the gacha items, but that wasn't true. The space felt small and a bit warm. Still, the girl sensed there was more to the story. She noticed that he was surprisingly well built. Embarrassment made Heihachi blush at her attention. She guessed that he might have some complaints and told him to stay quiet since she had ignored his actions before. Noral saw that they were having a good time without her. Stell invited her to join them. She said that since Okuradono is in trouble, she will help too. Grateful for the help earlier, but asked Heihachi to stop because it made her a bit uncomfortable. She asked where they were going now, but he stayed silent. That night's events left him unable to sleep. His silence made Stell feel irritated. The suggestion was to go to the Adventurers Guild first. The place required her to register her magic. Everyone present immediately turned their attention to them. Haichachi did not understand why everyone was staring. The receptionist greeted them. The administrator listened as it was explained that today, Stella joined their group and now they want to register her as an adventurer. Right away, the administrator noticed that Stella is a mage. The woman was surprised, but she quickly recovered and gave them the form. The sight of a mage surprised Haichachi. Magicians must be uncommon. The administrator admitted this was the first mage she had ever seen. The situation felt a bit awkward. This made Haichachi realize he had not seen anyone in the city. Someone explained that most of the mages serve in the Royal Army, and those who remain in teams all have at least an A rating. More and more people started to stare at them with every passing minute. Stell didn't like that her sign was a different color than the one her brother had. It was explained to her that they are at level E while she is still only at level G. The administrator was not allowed to change her rank just like that because of the rules. Many felt a bit sorry for her, but Stell felt sad and out of place. The looks around did not go away. Some of the men were already getting angry, as if Haichachi had offended the girl. Suddenly, she decided she would quickly get promoted. Even now, she is ready to take on the task. To quickly get the E rank, she is willing to blow up everything around her. Everyone got scared. It seems she means it. The problem is that moving forward is impossible without an F rank. Rules must be followed. Someone in the group asked what Haichachi looked like. The explanation was simple. Everything here is high-quality work. That is why both the gear and the armor are top-notch. Yes, it may look flashy, but what matters most are the features. Some people have said that wearing glasses makes him look smarter, but that's not the reason he wears them. These let him look at his phone without anyone seeing what is on the screen. The size of the girls can also be measured. Haichachi and Noral waited eagerly for Stell to show her magic. Suddenly monsters appeared. Stella decided it was time to show what she could do. They will witness the true power of the UR sorceress. She was the first to launch the attack. In just a few seconds, all the enemies were defeated. She asked what the others thought. Noral just muttered that it was ridiculous. Still, Hikachi sensed that she was not saying everything on her mind. He asked if she knew any simple spells. This turned out to be one of the easiest. Then she decided to show him another one. The next strike hits and pierces the monster completely. Water gathered thick in the air, then shot out. Norel watched closely, sensing something was about to happen. Her guess was right as Stell prepared to use a stronger move. The boys realized they were in the path and asked her to stop. At that moment, Heihachi realized this was the true power of magic. They are able to eliminate entire groups of enemies from a distance. Stella has a truly powerful arsenal. Her presence has given their team impressive fighting power. Stell was promoted to F rank and received congratulations right away. She suggested starting the E-class assignment right away, but Heihachi decided to do it later. A new idea came to him. Why not go to Sting right now? In the royal capital, during his last visit to the shop, Heihachi heard something interesting. He asked if the shopkeeper could buy everything from him. Added 2 more bags to this. The merchant agreed and said he would buy everything if he could, but his shop can only take 4 sacks at a time. They were advised to go to Sting, where there are plenty of shops ready to buy anything. There is also an underground area there. This unusual underground place near the capital is home to rare monsters and is rumored to be filled with treasures. Thinking about rare monsters, Heihachi realized this could be a chance to collect a large number of magic stones. The seller heard that even C-rank adventurers find it tough there. Right now, Heihachi is only E-rank. He needs to become stronger. With a team like this, including Stell, exploring the dungeon is completely possible. Stell agreed. The capital probably has many shops with clothes and cute things. Norel was on board too, knowing there would be good food there. The road ahead might be tough, but it is a chance to collect even more magic stones. The decision was made to head to Sting right away. They joined a long line of wagons heading to Sting. Heihachi got his own wagons ready. The trip seemed like it would be with other people. It might be crowded, but it is something to get used to. The cart set off with them from Bruna. The road to the capital for Sting goes through several villages and will take 10 days. A few days have passed since the journey began. During the journey, boredom set in, so Heihachi suggested playing rock, paper, scissors, but they lost interest in it quickly. Concern grew about Norel's condition. She admitted wanting to go home, but it feels like they do not really have a home. Not long ago, she was full of enthusiasm. Stell suggested that she let herself cry, as it might help her feel better. However, Norel thought this was not proper for a lady. Nausea came over her again. Panicking, she asked if Stell had any magic to help with nausea. Stell replied that healing was not her specialty. Someone suggested giving her something to help her sleep and calm down. However, Heihachi thought that was too much. Something unusual caught his eye in the window. He wondered if the adventurers with him could handle what was coming. They were ranked C, but if something serious happened, it might be too late. Help would definitely be useful. Still, the monster seemed weaker than the Cyclops. But Norel was still asleep. Stell explained that her sleeping medicine works so well that ordinary methods would not wake her up. At that moment, Heihachi used the elixir from the gacha. As soon as Norel woke up, he told her it was time to head into battle. Bravely, she moved toward the battlefield. Stell wondered if it might be better to separate completely. The people they saved were amazed at how easily Norel injured the Minotaur. The magic of the Stells made an even stronger impression. Norel decided it was time to leave immediately. She warned the boys that it was time to leave. Meanwhile, Stell delivered a powerful blow to the monster. A powerful explosion shook the ground. The feeling of magic is amazing. Heihachi realized that Stell is different from Norel. Her style is more showy, even a bit boastful. All of this happened after the Minotaur attack. And it all happened just during the van ride. The group traveled toward the royal capital, Stinga, finally arrived. The size of the capital city was truly impressive. Heihachi wanted to go straight to the Adventurers Guild, but Norel still was not feeling well. If things are really tough for her, taking a break in the hotel with Stell could help. She said everything was fine, and that she did not want to leave Okuridono alone, but she was barely able to stand. Stell gave her a potion and insisted that she drink it. The taste was terrible, but after everything she had done lately, she deserved a little help. The group arrived at the Adventurers Guild in the capital. They explained they had just arrived from Bruna. The registrar asked for their tokens, and Stell mentioned wanting to register as well. Since each guild offers different quests, Updating their documents was necessary. Looking at the team's data, the administrator was impressed to see that these were not beginners. After apologizing for the surprise, she registered them and let them know they could start taking quests today. Other adventurers also started whispering to each other. Hikachi realized there was nothing he could do. All eyes were on Stell, not just because she was a mage. Her beauty also drew everyone's attention. She had even asked not to be complimented. One of the adventurers walked up to her. Surprise appeared on her face when he spoke to her directly. The Team B leader was named Dejus. His behavior made an instant bad impression on Heihachi. After finding out she was a mage, he invited her to join his team if she was interested. However, Stell immediately said she was already in another group. Dejus was surprised because it was the first time he heard of a mage joining an E-rank team. He believed that she was just attracted by appearances and had been deceived. Judging by his outfit, Heihachi does not look like a real adventurer. He suggested that she leave this group of amateurs. If Stella joins him, her rank will rise quickly, making this the best choice for her future. Admittedly, the offer sounded appealing. For a moment, she paused to think. Later, she changed her mind because she was not interested. She became an adventurer to stay with her brother forever. These words touched Heihachi deeply. Shame filled him forever doubting her. Stell pointed out that these two are stronger than Dejus, so there is no reason to turn to someone weaker. Embarrassed, Heihachi apologized for everything. Hearing her little brother being insulted, Stell felt angry. She could not stand such disrespect. Dejus decided she was only joking and offered a duel. If his team wins, Stell joins them. If they lose, they will do whatever she asks. Stella was about to agree when Heihachi stopped her. Lowering his head, he apologized for everything that happened and asked not to take his friends away from him. Stell did not understand why he was doing this. But Heihachi understood that she should not be treated like a thing to be gambled. He hoped she would forgive him for this. For her sake, for his dear friend, he will allow himself to be humiliated. If it's just empty talk, that's one thing. But being embarrassed in front of a crowd is something else entirely. So instead of a duel on the stele, Heihachi suggested they bet 1,000,000 gil. Dejus thought he was joking. It seemed impossible that an E-rank adventurer could have 1,000,000. Yet strangely, Heihachi did not run away. He confirmed that he has this amount. Dejus agreed to accept the challenge for the sake of honor. There was also something else he wanted to say. News about the duel will spread around the city by tomorrow. A duel between adventurers fits perfectly in a city like Sting. Stella felt guilty, but Heihachi reassured her not to worry. He was already eager to respond. She did not change her decision. He asked her not to make that face because it might ruin her beauty. She called it a small thing. Still, Heihachi felt deeply how much it mattered. Norrell noticed his honesty as well. Even though he was not angry, something inside him was clearly boiling. Status already checked. Even though the basic stats were lower, the equipment gave a clear advantage. Most importantly, Norrell and Stell are with him. With friends like these, they cannot lose. This time, they are sure to win. The fight began. Heihachi felt shocked to see thousands of people watching. The pressure made it hard for him to understand how to keep fighting. A duel was announced between the adventurer Dejus and Okura Heihachi. Dejus advised to just avoid embarrassment. He wanted to show how big the gap is between B and E rank, but suddenly someone hit him on the head. Someone from his own team called him an idiot. Everyone understood he just wanted to make trouble for others. The group apologized to Heihachi for how their leader had acted. The girl grew angry with Migaru for what he did. Still, she admitted that all of this started because of his own actions. It became clear they were from Dejus's team. Dejus said he just wanted to help Stell because she had been tricked, and he invited her to join them, but Kira ignored him. She felt upset that everything had turned into a spectacle. If they win, they will get their bets back. Heihachi realized they had dropped all the match conditions. If they lose, she asked to accept the reward. Heihachi sensed that these people did not believe he could win. Suddenly, a new ring appeared on Stella's finger, something that had not been there before. Stell said her younger brother gave her this ring as a gift. If that is true, she will wear it forever. This was not what Heihachi intended when he gave it. Hearing this, Dejus expressed regret. The thought of such closeness between them never crossed his mind. Hachai quickly clarified that it was just a misunderstanding. Now Dejus cannot afford to lose. He will fight with everything he has. Stell didn't understand why he was reacting this way. Now everyone would think that Heihachi was a pervert who proposed to a child. The rumors would affect her too, but she didn't actually mind. Actually, it is good if they think that way. After this, he will not invite her again. That sounds like a happy ending. The fight seems about to start. Dejus's team walks into the arena. As expected, Deju has many fans. His team includes a warrior, a tank, an archer, and a priest, making it perfectly balanced. Everyone noticed how popular he was. He really is attractive. The teams will not fight each other, but will face a monster, the C-rank ogre. The sand in the hourglass acts as a timer. The team that wins faster becomes the duel winner. Stell is surprised there will be no direct fight, since clashes between adventurers are not allowed. Now the preparations are complete. The battle with the ogre began. The tank stepped forward first, using its strong shield. The priest gives support, while the archer and the warrior attack. Their team uses tight, well-coordinated tactics. The enemy is struck by their sword, and the situation appears serious. Meanwhile, Stell felt bored and found it hard to wait. Their team finished the fight. This took a few minutes. Still, Stell felt sure they could do it much faster. Dejus confidently said that this is the power of B rank. Now it will be interesting to see if others can win just as quickly. One of the viewers doubted their chances of winning at all and got slapped again for it. Stell did not like this. She apologized to Heihachi once more. Next, the second team entered the arena, the Okura Heihachi team. They were not popular yet as they had just arrived at Sting. The atmosphere during the fight made Heihachi feel afraid. Everyone believed this team would lose quickly. People said the magician would soon join Dejus. A sense of doubt filled Heihachi as he realized no one here believed in their victory. Instead, everyone expected defeat. Because of this, his stomach started to hurt. The girl offered him support. He has a team. With Noral and Stell, defeat is not an option. Stell promised to impress everyone. She showed him the ring. Meanwhile, Heihachi checked his equipment from Gacha, getting ready to fight Dejus. Every member of his team had new gear and was ready for battle. The plan was for Noral to take the ogre's attack, while Stell delivered the final blow after getting support. They immediately started working on the plan. Something unexpected happened when the host reacted with surprise. Instead of attacking, Ogre flew into the air. Now it was Heihachi's turn. It is time to announce the winner and hand over 1 million gil. Seeing how the girls managed on their own, it became clear that there was no need to step in. Dejus admitted defeat and handed over the bag of winnings. He admitted the girl was right and apologized for being rude. Relief spread over Heihachi. The conflict ended with a handshake. Dejus suggested improving their relationship, but Heihachi sensed there was no real sincerity in his words. Both gripped each other's hands tightly, making it clear that this was a duel, not just on the field. Stella did not understand what was happening. Still, it seemed that these two really looked alike. After the fight with Dejus, Heihachi stayed at level E, finally admitted the truth, simply too weak. Fighting monsters was difficult for him. Until now, all the battles had happened without him. Noral believed he just lacked experience. He was an ordinary person. However, Heihachi mentioned there was more to it. They had not trained for a long time. Noral understood what he meant. The conversation was about Gacha. Since Stell arrived, the hook had not been used, and with no hunting, only 2 magic stones remained. In a dangerous situation, this would be their weakness. He looked at Noral, knowing the time had come. The plan was to collect the magic stones, but Noral grabbed Stell and ran away. Heihachi started to chase after them, but something suddenly stopped the girls. Now Noral stood right in front of him. According to him, he expected the situation and left a beacon. This object allowed someone from the group to be transported to the right place. The idea to start collecting magic stones came from him. Activating the power bracelet, he tried to hold her back. Still, the girl resisted, not wanting to go through it all again. He asked why she was resisting so much. The thought of getting into trouble without any stones made her think. Starting now seemed better than regretting it later. As they collect more stones, the amount will grow and new equipment will appear. This way, he can become stronger. The plan seemed good. Stell agreed. Noral only became more upset seeing Stell support it. Heihachi placed a hand on her shoulder because she looked tired. He suggested putting everything off until tomorrow and asked Stell to help Noral fall asleep. This was too difficult for Noral. Even Stell was surprised at how frightened the girl was, though she had planned to be careful. To get 25 stones each day, only 600 monsters need to be defeated. This surprised Norrell, so he suggested having a short conversation with her. For a long time, she tried to earn Noel's forgiveness. Haichachi regretted making her fall asleep, but Norrell did not hold a grudge, and that made him angry. She said that Okuridono was to blame for everything, but there was nothing to be done. All that was left was to gather the magic stones. Escape was no longer an option. To calm down, she had a brief conversation with him because his demand was unreasonable, asking for 600 monsters a day. The girl apologized. She was amazed that Stell managed to persuade Okuridono. Meanwhile, Haichachi was already planning a trip to a new place. Today they will travel using a magic carpet. Stell had doubts about whether he could handle it, but he felt offended because he does have a pilot's license. Crowds of monsters were already waiting for them ahead. Everyone attacked at once with the same weapon. This worked better than fighting each enemy one by one. Hunting with mass attacks offers real benefits. Even rare monsters with strong defense usually do not resist magic, so area attacks are the best choice. One person gathers all the enemies into a group, while others finish them off. This helps save the most mana. There is a drawback. When fighting against Heihachi and Norrell, poisonous scorpions make it dangerous. Rocky cannot neutralize the poison, so once again everyone wants Norrell to handle everything. Norrell feels desperate and says he is a demon. However, Haichachi calms her down and assures her they will go somewhere else. They left the northern cave behind and continued on their way. The forest is filled with horrible monsters, and Norrell refused. The next location has strong magical resistance. Access is denied. No places have proven as effective as the northern cave. New locations need to be explored. If nothing is found, she will agree to handle the enemies herself. They returned to the north cave. Heihachi asked what had changed since she was against it before. Norrell replied that no one was forcing her. She does not want her selfishness to harm others. If Heihachi does everything by himself, he will take risky actions again. That is why she suggested working together. Okuridono started to notice her as well. He accepted her offer. There is no need to hurry, and he will speak up as soon as he feels tired. Norrell was surprised that Stell managed to persuade him. His kindness was almost unsettling. Stella replied that it was a secret. Heihachi remembered what happened and shivered, not because of the punishment. They told him to stay focused and keep going. The hunt went on. The 35th magic stone is now in the collection. Heihachi was worried about whether Norrell could handle the bite of the poisoned needle. She assured him that with her new level, everything becomes easier. Actually, it is better to keep an eye on the one who is always using mana. Spending a long time in the cave felt gloomy. Heihachi thought to himself, "Goodbye then." Suddenly, something truly unusual caught his attention. The Chai Festival has started, but Haichachi kept calling it the Haichachi Carnival, so Norrell predicted this would bring more trouble. Stell just sighed, thinking her brother really did seem to have permanent bad luck. This time he chose to hold back. Just 5 sets, 11 attempts each. Norrell and Stell went twice each. Norrell is surprised that Okuridono chose not to be greedy. She thinks he has grown up. Stell asks again in surprise. Heihachi confidently says that the chosen one only needs one try to get the rarest item. After a moment, he adds that it was a joke. Both tried just as hard, so they deserve a bigger share. Norrell goes first to draw, a bit unsure but hopeful. He asks why she does not let him go ahead of her. Last time he pulled out 11 rare ones, getting 10 in a row. If things go badly again, maybe the girls will finally understand him. But now, a shout signals his victory. As expected, luck is truly on her side. She pulled 2 incredibly rare items in one try. Heihachi is amazed. Next is Stell. For some reason, there is a sense of nervousness. And now she also gets a super rare one. Heihachi tries to calm down and thinks maybe these rare things aren't so rare this time. Both girls already have 2 super rare items each, but neither has managed to get the ultra-rare ring. Heihachi hoped he would be the one to get the ultra. Decided to trust his luck and promised to prove what real gacha is. A rainbow ultra-rare chest has really appeared. Heihachi tried to stay calm, but Norrell felt sure that inside he was screaming. Stell noticed his suspicious smile. He pretends not to have heard anything. It is time to open the chest. Inside is Regea Aritra, an exclusive weapon designed for Norrell, but she already has one like that. The look on Heihachi's face changed suddenly. The girls froze in place. He said nothing, but his look was frightening. Stell asked him not to be angry because she had done nothing wrong. Both of them held onto his arms. They asked, "You promised only 5 tries, so what is your hand trying to do now?" His answer was simple, nothing, just let him finish. Still, Heihachi does not give up. The next attempt will surely bring another ultra. He needs to try again. Norrell sighed, knowing things had already gone too far to change anything. An apology comes as giving in to the pull of a hook proves too tempting. Everyone taps the screen at the same time. Next, Heihachi is given the sacred scaled mantle. Excitement shines on his face. The girls agreed that this time his persistence truly paid off. That night, everyone slept peacefully. Heihachi woke up and saw Stell lying next to him. She mentioned that she has always dreamed of sleeping next to her brother. Loneliness comes to her very quickly. About to call Norrell, the girl quickly covered his mouth. She felt upset that he was trying to make her leave. The boy asked her to stop acting silly and go back to her own bed. This surprised her because he was still resisting even now. All she wanted was to spend one night together. He gave in. With a request like hers, refusing became difficult. Just sleeping side by side seemed harmless. In the morning, Norrell finds them together. Acting like a mother, she grabbed Stella and scolded her. "Told me not to disappear like that again." Stella enjoyed being held close, but she felt disappointed because the most exciting part had just begun. Today is a day off. After non-stop hunting, Heihachi decided to take a break. Norrell felt happy but was unsure how to spend the day. Stell suggested going shopping together. This is the perfect opportunity. Heihachi handed them a small bag with 5 gold coins, 500,000 gil. The girl's eyes widened in surprise. If more is needed, he will give some, but asks not to waste it. He will not go himself because he has other things to do. Stell became curious and wanted to know what these things were. The meeting with Deus came to mind. Both were surprised to hear he was going to see that arrogant brute. However, Heihachi explained that materials from those poor creatures they hunted are very popular among adventurers. He wants to set up official sales. Meanwhile, the girls decided to take a walk around the city. However, it turned out that Norrell did not have a clear plan. Stell felt surprised, because not long ago Norrell had seemed so confident and eager to move forward. Suddenly, the idea came up to go into this store. Norrell mentioned having enough clothes, but Stell noticed her wardrobe was very plain. The brother still does not see her as a girl, probably because of the way she dresses. These words made Norrell feel a little hurt. In the store, the shop assistant's expression changed as soon as she saw the girls, and she welcomed them warmly. Stell thought that maybe it was because of Norrell's strange clothes. Norrell herself did not understand what was wrong. Stell could not stand her mask. Today is the day for a transformation. Together, they will help Norrell find a new style. The sudden way Stell opened the fitting room made Norrell quite scared. Feeling uncomfortable, Stell still thought it suited her. Stella suggested it might be best to take off the mask. Still, Norrell wanted to change her clothes alone. Then Stell suggested lifting her up a little. She had never seen her face before and really wanted to see it, even just once. Only the two of them are here now. After some hesitation, Norrell agreed. For the first time, she showed her face. The news completely surprised Stell, and she did not expect this at all. Suddenly fell silent. Stell gave a compliment. The clothes look great. Overall, Norrell looks very beautiful. Norrell's tone changed. She asked if her brother had ever seen her without a mask. Stell answered yes, only once. It seemed he did not say anything, probably felt surprised. That is what Norrell thought too. She had been crying at that moment while he comforted her, so she did not see the expression on his face. After that, their conversation stayed just as warm. This truly made her happy. Over time, Stell noticed something was wrong with her. In fact, Norrell had already gotten used to speaking openly. Now it feels easy for her to be herself around Stell. As soon as a walk without a mask was mentioned, she quickly grabbed it and covered her face. This way, she feels calmer, but still, she put it on again. Stell suggested trying to go without it for practice. Then something else caught her attention. It looks like Norrell took her to the next store herself, towards the place where a very sweet scent was coming from. This is how they ended up in a candy store. Norrell couldn't resist. Eyes lit up like a child's. Stella seemed so sweet without her mask. Nora comes across as genuine, full of life, and truly charming. Meanwhile, Deus wondered how Heihachi could carry so many heavy bags. He did not know that Heihachi had a magic bag. This group defeated Deus's team, taking out the sting bearers one by one. And all of this was done by an E-rank team. The news quickly spread throughout the entire guild. The association decided it is time for a raise. Their exceptional effectiveness made the difference, not their problems. The guild leader insisted that such a group could not stay in a lower rank. Heihachi suspected this might lead to trouble. The girls did not argue. Norl agreed, as long as it did not mean going back to the North Cave. Their readiness was confirmed, and they received the official assignment. To enter the dungeon, a C rank is needed. Heihachi offered to raise the rank. Noral had even forgotten that dungeons exist. First comes the promotion to D rank. The first task is to eliminate the frog people. As soon as they stepped into the mud, a monster's head suddenly rose up from the slime. But Noral said he is nice. Heihachi grabbed his head, thinking she is daydreaming again. Noral insisted that this time she was not making things up. Even Stell agreed that the frog monsters really were magical. On the other hand, Heihachi did not look impressed. Unsure how to act, he really did not want to get into the swamp. Noral suggested freezing the monster, but Heihachi explained that this would stop other monsters from appearing. He asked Stell to destroy the mud itself. Without hesitation, magical fire shot up, making the whole swamp tremble from the impact. The girl was amazed by the spell and thrilled with the result. Suddenly, doubt crept in as she wondered if they might get in trouble for the mess. Everything around them looked like chaos. At that moment, a monster crawled out of the swamp. It looked even more disgusting than Heihachi had imagined. Noral immediately lost interest. She was about to strike again, but the boy stopped her, saying the little swamp could disappear completely. Changing her approach, she set her sights on the enemy. But the attack missed as he moved quickly out of the way. Her patience ran out. It was impossible to strike because he kept dodging. The boys realized the enemy simply refused to give up. Blowing up the whole pond would be easier, but Heihachi asked to wait because he has a plan. Stella agreed and said, "Go ahead, give him one from me too." Meanwhile, the swamp creature released a foul smell that made everyone dizzy, but there was no time, as it was quickly spotted. Stella made up her mind not to let him get away after treating her so badly. This was the final blow. Victory came, though for a simple D-rank quest, it felt like a real war. With confidence, she suggested completing the C-rank task even faster. The next day, their journey to the ruins began. The mission is to defeat 10 minotaurs. This one is the 5th. With every battle, the boys grew stronger. Noral believed everything would be over soon. Minotaurs seemed like easy targets, and the 6th one had already fallen. Suddenly, a stranger appeared. He was strong and looked dangerous. The boy felt a shiver run through him. What is he even doing in the C-rank zone? The attack caused more than 3,000 damage. Heihachi refused to even consider fighting. He ordered everyone to retreat. However, Noral made a different choice and decided to keep the monster. Stella was told to run away right away. If the enemy focused on her instead, there would be serious trouble. Anger burned in her eyes. Without hesitation, Heihachi charged into the attack. Noral uses her shield to knock the enemy to the ground. She helps him and checks to make sure he is okay. Everything is fine, he assured. The real problem was not recognizing the opponent. Noral realized that it was because of those sparks. They disappear whenever he strikes. She offered to distract the enemy while someone else delivered the decisive blow. Now the monster is weak. The moment has come. Heihachi uses an explosive token from the gacha, causing a real explosion that takes out the enemy. A series of powerful explosions struck the monster, and it seemed like victory was near. Relief washed over Heihachi as his plan worked, but in the next moment, a strike came from behind. There was no time to dodge. Noral felt worried for him, but she could not leave Estelle unprotected. She told her friend to step back so the mage would not be able to shoot while she was close by. Estelle rushed to Heihachi, worried about how he was feeling. He reassured her that everything was fine. After drinking the potion, he regained his senses and asked about the monster. Noral silently gestured with her hand. Estelle struck him with magic that burned like pure rage. Her face looks empty and cold, while a red, pulsing aura surrounds her. It seems like the girl has changed. The thought struck Heihachi. Did she really use that skill? Thanks to a magic skill, her strength grew by 50%, and the enemy's defense weakened. Even a giant like Asterios could not withstand this. After defeating the enemy, Stell walked over to Heihachi. "Please do not make me worry anymore," she whispered softly. From that moment, he decided never to upset her again. He truly apologizes. Maybe next time it would be better not to get so angry and use the skill right away. It seems Estelle and Noral share the same weaknesses. Using their abilities leaves them very tired. So, Heihachi went to report back and let the girls rest. On the way, he stopped by Lady Lights. When he opened the door, he froze. Noral was lying on the bed, playing, and her mask was off. Fear took over and she screamed. Annoyed, asked why he was back already. In response, he wanted to know why there was no mask. She replied that sometimes she wants to take it off too, but she wonders if he would mind seeing her real face. Training with Estelle has made things a bit easier. Asked where her friend was. She was feeling better and was in the bathroom. Heihachi wanted to know what Noral had been doing. She looked at the toys they bought with genuine excitement. The young man turned away and offered some more. He said to take them as a reward for bravery. Confusion took over as his reaction felt hurtful. It seemed like he was not taking her seriously. He thought those things were just small trinkets. But for her, they really matter. He doesn't fully grasp how she feels, but she thanked him sincerely. At that moment, Noral sensed something strange and unsettling. The time had come. She took off her mask and admitted she had not felt this happy in a long time. Still, something about her seemed different. Preparations are underway for a new adventure. The Hagano Labyrinth, an unusual underground maze filled with rare treasures and incredible monsters. The group finally earned a promotion to C rank. They truly deserved it. The group set out on a journey to explore the mysterious underground dungeon. Inside, the space felt brighter than Heihachi expected, as if the walls themselves were alive. The floor and walls glowed with magic. Before there was time to look around, a monster appeared. Slime. Heihachi is sure he can handle it on his own. The slime moved toward him. Noral warns not to let its appearance make you feel safe. This is an acid slime. It can dissolve anything nearby, so it's safer to keep your distance. After realizing that the slime could dissolve objects, Heihachi introduced the girls. Something seemed off. The group started to wonder if he had actually read the instructions. Both of them learned everything together in the guild, but he just relied on a status app. A quiet sigh escaped the girl. There was no hope for him. She mentioned that only slugs would appear up to the 10th floor, so the group moved on. A new type of slime appears at the next level. On the 9th floor, explosive slimes react to even the slightest movement. Heihachi suggested attacking them from a distance. Once a chain reaction starts, it is time to get out of there. Now it's the 10th floor. This should be where a strong enemy appears, but something different happens instead. A strange device with an arrow on top was discovered. This looks like a dead end. If Stell is right, turning the lever here should let us move forward. It looks like a switch. Noral smiled and suggested pressing it. Once activated, the arrow turned and something started working. The mechanism works like a roulette. You either end up in a room full of monsters or find a valuable item. Still, nothing happened. It seemed like a dead end at first, but then a strange sound broke the silence. The entrance suddenly closed. The fog grows thicker. Everyone gets ready. These seem to be more than just doors. They are a passage to another floor. It seems they have been sent back to the start. If they get it wrong again, they will need to try once more. Heihachi decided to give it another shot. The team set off again along the familiar path. There have already been many mistakes. Tiredness keeps growing. They have come back here at least 40 times already. Heihachi advises to keep going and focus on what lies ahead. The door has different decorations. This must be the right one. Finally, the hall is empty. Getting here was not easy. Estelle is preparing her strongest magic. This time they will defeat him. However, Heihachi noticed that the slime here was much stronger. According to the recommendations, this level normally requires at least 2 participants of rank B or higher. Estelle suggested deciding whether to fight or retreat only after checking the enemy's status. As soon as the door opened, a giant monster stood before them. His abilities were even higher than those of Asterios. The others were already almost out of strength. According to Heihachi, it is better to retreat since their goal is to explore the dungeon, not to die in it. The girls agree that the most important thing is to make it back alive. But Gagano's maze turned out to be more difficult than it seemed. Heihachi realizes there is no turning back, and he must find a way out. Noral senses that his thoughts have returned to the gacha once more. He does not know any other way. Estelle jokes that it is rare to see a young boy who is not interested in fishing. but Haichachi says he is actually a big fan, The team has great equipment but still needs a new member. They need someone who can heal from a distance. A priest. This creates a problem. Counting on luck is like trying to pull a turtle. The chances are very slim. If luck is not on our side, things could get really tough. In this situation, Heihachi decides to go all in as soon as the event begins. Everyone expects this from him. Estelle reacts instantly. A warning comes first. Choosing this path means facing something even worse than the magic stone. A real endurance test of gacha lies ahead. No sneak peeks before the event begins. His decision to return caused dissatisfaction. Norel is asked for a favor about training, which comes as a surprise to her. When Estelle was told that Okuradono was acting strangely again, she just sighed and said something must have gotten into his head again. The boy heard everything. Unsure of what is wrong with him, he asks Norel to teach him how to fight, hoping to become a little stronger. Always relied on the girls even when collecting magic stones. Now wants to support them in return. She praised his initiative and admitted she had never trained anyone before. Agreed to start with the basics. Today they will give it their all. The training spot felt creepy to Heihachi, but Norel thought it was perfect. This is the lair of the Eagle Warriors, the same monsters he had trouble with before. He will fight them while the girls watch and point out any weaknesses. The only rule is that he cannot use any equipment except a sword and a shield. Taking off the holy cloak scared him, felt alone and was unsure where to begin. It turned out he had to face the boss alone, the Eagle Warrior. Surprise takes over, since this was supposed to be just a normal sparring session. Norel, however, chooses to start the fight right away. The monster appeared, and the girls encouraged the boy. The eagle quickly launched an attack, showing its unique abilities. A sharp pain appears. One eye is hurt and there is a cut on the leg. Asked for Norel's opinion on his progress. Thank you for watching. The guy could barely stand, but the girl decided it was time for a second round. He had no idea there would be more. Norel collected the mistakes she noticed and now needs to correct them in the next fight. Noted that the angle of view is too narrow. It's important to watch not just the weapon, but the entire body of the opponent. The defense here is too weak, so swinging the sword wildly will not work. Proper aim is needed. In the quiet, the boy wondered if he had spoken to the wrong person. The girls noticed that he is getting better at blocking hits. If he keeps going, he will become strong. The idea of daily workouts seemed scary to him. Norel explained that without regular practice, there would be no results. She encouraged him and asked him to do his very best. The boy promised to give his best. Then, he noticed strange tracks on the ground showing that someone had been attacked. A helpless rabbit has been found badly injured. The attackers were instantly stopped and killed. After rescuing the animal, Heichachi scolded Norel for acting alone. She apologized, saying her body just moved forward on its own when she saw the child. The child was badly injured. She wanted to save him very much. Heichachi looked at the wound. It was deep. A valuable medicine made from gachi was given to her. Norel wanted to make sure it could be used. The boy realized the injury was serious. She promised not to do anything wrong. The potion worked instantly. This was real magic from the witch. The girl smiled with happiness and wished the rabbit to stay safe on his journey. Still, he stayed close by. Right away, Estelle noticed he had grown attached to her. The boy considered saying no, but just looked at Okura. They explained that living in a hotel means they cannot have pets. The girl didn't give up. She picked up the rabbit and held it out to him so he could take a closer look. That gentle look softened even the will of Heihachi. The team now had a new companion. The group led by Heichachi is getting closer to a major event. Estelle enjoys spending time with her new pet. Norel realized how much she had grown attached to him and thought it seemed very sweet. The rabbit was named Moffat and turned out to be a good luck charm. People say that seeing it even once will bring happiness into your life. Estelle joked that it was time to start the carnival. The long-awaited event has started. 33 gacha attempts for TSSR are now available. The main prize is the priest everyone has been waiting for. Estelle thought her brother did not like the banner, but actually, Heihachi is very impressed. If he had known there would be a chance like this, he would have collected more magic stones. Norel realized why he felt so down. The decision was made to start, and everyone will have the chance to make 2 attempts. With 902 stones available, they have enough for all 33 challenges. Buying 1 spin costs 3 times more than buying 11 spins at once. Heihachi's words made Norel a bit uneasy, but Estelle decided to try first. Impressed everyone with her energy, now she is on the front line. Because of her, they got many things. Trying 33 times creates a whole new level of tension. When no ultra-rare item drops at all, the experience becomes truly frustrating. Their patience pays off when the long-awaited priest finally appears. Even though she regretted spending the money, the boy told her he respected her determination. A chill runs down the skin, though it is hard to tell if it comes from excitement or fear. Norol noticed that Okuri was acting strangely. The highest rarity means it is extremely rare. Despite the setback, Heihachi tried to calm everyone down. Still, Norol noticed that he was the one feeling most nervous. Half of the attempts are still ahead, so there is still a chance to get a rare item. Taking a risk could be worthwhile. He is very confident and believes luck will always be on his side. Finally, he pulls it out. This really is a victory. Then he even started to sing. Norol pulls out another copy of Estelle's weapon. Okuri stops breathing from the shock. A quick jolt of electricity brought him back to life. It turned out that he still has one more copy and 2 chances left. Everyone is hoping for Norol's luck. The way everyone was watching her closely made her feel uneasy. Like the others, she pulled out a whole bunch of items. The guy reminds himself that he still has one more try. Norol notices him hiding his tiredness behind a smile. Despite incredible luck for Norol, things did not work out. The chance was slipping away, and Heihachi was worried it would be wasted. If only he had a credit card. Norol made a joke about maybe giving Moffat a chance. Estelle started to wonder if this was even allowed. Heihachi shrugged, not really caring, and agreed without hesitation. The rabbit seemed to understand everything and looked sad. Estelle believed that the talisman Moffat would definitely bring good luck. The fluffy one gently touched the screen with its paw. Something amazing happened when the priest Shizuka Alvi was saved. Moffat really does bring good luck. Although excitement filled Heihachi, concern lingered as a rabbit had defeated him. He did not understand what was happening to him. Maybe happiness took his breath away. They could not have done it without the rabbit's help. The next day, the long-awaited moment finally arrived. The priest was set to officially join their team. This happened sooner than expected, all because of Moffat, which annoyed Heihachi a little. Still, he admitted that nothing would have worked without the rabbit. Now they waited eagerly for her call. Norol realized that she had been called in the same way before. Heihachi admitted that in his world he never got this priestess because she is very popular. Just thinking about meeting her made him a little nervous. The call finally came. She introduced herself and said she was pleased to meet the owner. Seeing her made him freeze. Clenching a fist, he introduced himself with confidence. Norol noticed that he did not react to them the same way. But Heihachi said he was lying. Estelle did not like this behavior as the priestess turned out to be even better than expected. His eyes stayed fixed on her chest. The priestess looked a bit embarrassed, and Estelle started to get annoyed. Suddenly you asked what he was staring at. After an awkward pause, the boy lied and said he was admiring her pendant. Norol found this suspicious. Finally, he regained his composure and apologized for not introducing themselves. Everyone introduced themselves, including Moffat. Gave in to that adorable face. It was just too cute to resist. He called her Alvi-san and politely asked for permission to see her profile. The girl realized this was impolite and said goodbye. She introduced herself as Shizuka, and the guy suggested calling him Okura. Watched with sadness as they decided how they would address each other. Checked her profile and realized she was fully prepared for the challenge. The news filled her with joy because things were finally moving forward. They have a sacred prayer that increases the area of healing and restores health to several allies at once. This power keeps the team balanced, and Heichi can see it very clearly, but her breasts matched exactly what he imagined. They were anything but small. At first, fear set in, thinking that the angry Estelle was coming towards him, but instead, she walked over to Shisu. There was a feeling that the priestess might be hiding something. Feeling uncomfortable, she pretended not to understand what was being said. In truth, she had nothing to hide since they were the ones who called her. Norla agreed that it was not right to suspect her without any real reason. In the end, everyone admitted that Shisu was right and apologized to her. She looked at her brother, so deep in thought that she did not even trust herself. The priestess reassured her that everything was fine. Noticed that this Estelle is completely different. Nothing about her seems suspicious. She has a kind heart, and it is easy to talk with her, counting on Shisako's support. Norel promised to give his best effort, asked for care and support. Stella realized that she and her brother would now sleep together. but he chose to sleep on the floor. Shisu could not allow this while the others slept in beds, called him over. After Shizuka joined, another issue with housing came up. Hikachi wanted to rent another room, but the others decided to stay together, so they had to take a room for 4. Pointed out that men and women sharing the same bed is not the best idea. Asked her to think logically. Norel warned her that he might pinch her cheek. Estelle decided not to insist on sleeping together for now, but she wanted something in return. He was supposed to say who he would choose if he had to sleep with just one person. She thought she had no chance because she joined only today. He asked if it was possible not to answer. Estelle firmly said no. Unsure what to say to avoid hurting anyone's feelings, took a moment to think, and finally chose Norel. Among all of them, she seemed the least feminine, and this made her quite angry. The next day, Shisu apologized to Okura. Because of this, they had to wander around the capital. The person told them not to worry. The guide remembered that there would be another gacha event soon. Everyone agreed that it would be a great day to strengthen their friendship. Norel suggested that they simply enjoy the moment. Hikachi wished he could have found something more practical for the priestess to wear. She told him not to worry about it. The girls might have offered her some clothes, but Norel doubted they would fit. First, something should be bought for Shusuke. The priest felt uncomfortable. Heihachi said today everyone could allow themselves anything. Norla was already dreaming about lots of food, and everyone was surprised that she suddenly thought about eating. While shopping, everyone enjoyed their time together and seemed to forget about feeling tired. Feeling tired, her thoughts kept returning to how much attention Mafi gets. The rumors that just seeing him brings comfort turned out to be true. This lucky rabbit truly stands out as an incredible creature. Nearby, a boy stumbled and fell. She rushed over right away and healed his wounds. The young man started to feel better right away. Everyone around watched the priestess with admiration for her skills. She advised being more careful, and the boy thanked her sincerely. This is exactly what was expected from the priestess. Heihachi added that Shisuha is truly a good person. Lunchtime arrived. Norel said she was going to eat as much as she wanted today. Shisuha thanked Okuri for the day. That was more than enough for her. She felt happy, and Heihachi seemed embarrassed by her confession. By the way, the idea came from Estelle. He remembered that when he called Estelle, there was no celebration. It seems she is simply looking after Shisuke, so the thanks should go to her. The girl might have misunderstood everything, but she thanked him and Okuri as well. Once again, he realized that Shisuha was truly a real priestess. He used to think she seemed suspicious, but now realizes it was only his imagination. Suvai is a good person, and Hikachi does not believe she is hiding anything. A crowd had gathered nearby, so the girls decided to go see what was happening. Everyone was invited to join the competition against the strongman. Each challenge cost 5,000 gil, and the winner received 100,000. Estelle suggested an arm wrestling match to Heihachi, but he firmly refused. No matter what he does, he cannot defeat such a strong opponent. At that point, Shisuha decided to take a chance. The boy asked again if she was sure. She admitted she did not have much strength as she was a priestess, worried about whether things would turn out well. Heihachi hoped she would not exaggerate, unlike Norel, who often did and did not even like it herself. The man felt happy because luck was on his side today, and he would get to shake hands with such a beautiful woman. She asked him not to be too rough with her. Tension appeared on her face before anyone else realized what had happened. Everyone wondered what was different about this girl. Suddenly, victory arrived. Shisova amazed everyone watching. Joy filled her from both the win and how easily it came. The result shocked Heihachi, as her strength clearly surpassed his own. Maybe Estelle suspected exactly that. The new mission is to defeat 10 stone goblins. Shisuva could not wait for the first quest to begin, so everyone agreed to finish it quickly to increase their rank. Getting used to this armor will take some time. Estelle suggested that Foudy take off his helmet to feel more comfortable. He got it from the last cacho and decided to try it on. The girls agreed that he stood out in the crowd. The limited view increases safety, so he was given the role of tank. Even when facing goblins, it is better to stay alert. He was the first to charge into the fight without any hesitation. The goblins attacked but were surprised by how strong the armor was. Kabulam received permission to attack. Still new to real fights, he listened to Norel, who agreed that even with strong defense, avoiding blows is important. Deciding that after defeating 10 goblins, it was time to head back. Nuriel stopped him and pointed, asking him to look behind. Suddenly, a rare kind of goblin appeared nearby. Defeating them would give magical stones. Gave the order to the girls to leave no one behind and eliminate everyone. Tried to protect Shisua, but was struck by the monster instantly. Fell to the ground, unable to see anything ahead. The biggest fear was that Shizuka might be in danger. Asked if she was all right. Nuriel saw that everything on their side was already over. Haikachi thought the others had also been defeated, but Nuriel did not understand him. Shizuko increased her rank while he continued working towards becoming a tank. A few days passed. The next goal is to take on the eagle hunters. This challenge also requires special training. She waited for the next fight. The boy noticed she enjoyed fighting. In a quiet voice, she admitted she liked killing. The first plan was to defeat the eagle warriors so their leaders would show themselves. Shizuka also wanted to fight alongside Okura against the regular warriors, something he did not expect at all. To become a strong defender, she wants to learn how to fight in the middle of a crowd of enemies under real pressure. For her, this is a path to the tank. Heihachi still did not understand how it happened. Driven by the need to protect Shisu, shame fills him. But there is no room left for mistakes. Failing again could put her in real danger. Such a delicate girl should not be put in danger. He needs to do everything possible to keep her safe. Ask Shisuha to use him as a shield during the fight. She chose to share her thoughts about the fights, and now nothing will hold her back. All he needs to do is watch the opponent's movements. He manages to respond in time, but he has not yet learned how to predict their actions. For example, when the monster dodges to the right, it should move to the left before the jump happens. If the boy learns to read these movements, he can predict what will happen next. She understands that success will not come right away. That is why Shizuko reminded him to keep practicing regularly. His movements are quite good, so there is a real chance. The priest promised to give his best effort. One of the eagle leaders has already been killed. Heichi activated divine speed. This technique surrounds the body with a red glow and triples speed. However, the enemy has also become extremely fast. Someone tried to calm Heihachi. The opponent used the same basic moves as an ordinary eagle warrior. It all depends on how well he can read his opponent's movements. Success came at last as the opponent was defeated. Norel found it hard to believe that he managed to hit an enemy moving so fast. Everyone saw how quickly the skills improved. It seemed like true talent. Heihachi explained that it was all thanks to one piece of advice from Shisua. Some people even doubted if she was truly a priestess. With some embarrassment, Shisuya confirmed it. Estelle said she teaches better than Norel, which bothered Norel. Okuri was offered help to find the next eagle leader, with a promise that training would be strict and fair. Heichachi felt unhappy because Estelle had said too much. So Heihachi has a new set of equipment. Hunting in the forest started to feel repetitive for the eagle warriors, but everyone knew this was the perfect place to train. Someone suggested hunting Asterios to get the chain. Embarrassment filled him over how sharply he had spoken. Nuriel explained that this wasn't the kind of monster worth getting distracted by. However, everyone agreed that he was now used to fighting eagles. It was time for him to face a truly powerful monster. Shizuka agreed with the idea, but pointed out that choosing Asterios was not a must. She asked Okura not to push himself too hard. If something goes wrong, she can heal him in an instant. Even if he lost his limbs, as long as he was alive, she would help him recover. But Heichachi could not be sure of that. Fear filled him as he thought about facing such a monster. Nuriel encouraged him and said it was time to overcome that fear. So he started getting the gear ready. Shisu also needed to be prepared for emergencies. Planning to use the lion's heart to stay calm, he prepared for a second chance. Announcing the start quietly, some problems were clearly still there. Nuriel wished them luck and promised to help if there was any danger. Heihachi understood that it was important to go where the danger was. Everyone agreed to work together. Shizuka said they would do everything they could. Holding back the enemy was extremely difficult for him. Finally, the monster went down, and Heihachi struck with all his strength. Special training allowed him to avoid the attack in a remarkable way. Everyone around watched the fight with great interest. Everything seemed to be going well, but he was mistaken. At the crucial moment, Shizuka managed to protect Heihachi from a fatal blow. She did not stop there and finished off the monster. A kind and gentle priestess, she heals everyone she meets. Every time Heihachi mentioned it, he pretended not to notice anything. Boshisui is not an ordinary priestess. After her final victory, she smiled and said it felt good to get some exercise. She asked how Heihachi was feeling and apologized. Tried not to interfere with his training and kept holding back. But after seeing how Okura was fighting, staying back was no longer possible and the body moved into action on its own. Once Akastel told him that Shizuko was hiding something. Now he understood that he was partly to blame for it. The priestess seemed ready to ask something, but he worried she might say it in a way that would make it sound like she meant something else entirely. It seemed clear now that she was no longer hiding her intentions and wanted to kill these two. After a big lunch, Nurel flopped onto the bed. Heikachi remarked that lying down after eating could turn someone into a cow. The girl just waved it off, not caring. Some people can eat as much as they want and never gain weight. Estelle felt a bit jealous, while the boy simply invited her over. Quite a bit of time has passed since the battle with Asterios. Since then, Heichachi has kept up his special training and collected magical stones. During this time, Shisuba reached rank C. She apologized for the delay and served everyone tea, noted for her caring nature. Heihachi agreed. Gentle and kind, yet in battle she becomes someone completely different. When asked about plans for today, Heihachi said that after successfully bringing the priestess onto the team, he decided to keep trying his luck with the gacha. Suddenly remembered that he had completely forgotten about it. Still, it couldn't be that he really forgot about the hook. Spoke with absolute certainty. Just received a notification about a premium ticket. This ticket is a bit different from a regular one. It works like this. After 11 spins in a row, the player gets a free ticket with an SSR character or something similar. The fact that it was free made her uneasy. Heichachi suggested thinking everything over after the spinning was done. She disagreed, and said thinking afterwards is too late. In her view, it is better to do something and regret it than to do nothing and regret it later. But Nurel did not think this way. They saw Okura's true face. Nurel said this was completely normal. The priestess was surprised by his energy. Nurel was also impressed by how the priestess reacted after everything she had seen. The work began with real enthusiasm. As expected, SSR went out right away. It was clear from the start. She only had a rough idea of how gacha worked, but so much appeared at once. Realized this was a completely new experience. Turning the crank felt exciting. Nurel quietly warned not to get involved. Still, Heikachi understood there was more to come. He still had a premium ticket. Rare chests appeared in front of them. The lack of excitement bothered the girl. The double made Nurel feel very uneasy. Unsure of what steps to take, he felt confused by the situation. Both versions of Nurel looked at the toys. Talking felt effortless because they understood each other instantly. Clearly, they were getting along very well. It would actually be strange if things were different. At that moment, Mafa crawled out from under the toys. One of the girls called the rabbit over to her. Once again, they could not decide who Mafa would stay with. One of them suggested calming down, but in the end, it turned into an argument. He tried to stop the girls, but the scene was already in complete chaos. Everyone was surprised by his idea, and the boy felt awkward denying it. They asked what he would decide because having another Nurel would make them stronger. She wants him to decide what would be best, even though she is the one asking him. She was the first person he called into this world and stayed by his side all this time. There is the Nurel that he knows from the beginning, and another one that he still needs to discover. Treating both the same way will not work. This approach will bring strength, but there are also challenges. He admitted that Nurel is the only one for him, so he honestly does not want to do this. Others noticed that it sounded almost like an admission. Shiseka observed a good relationship between them. An awkward feeling came over him. He admitted that he wouldn't be happy if another version of himself showed up. Estelle agreed that there was some truth in that. A message popped up on the phone Shisaka picked up, saying it is not possible to summon two identical characters. Everyone felt relieved. If only they had known this from the start. Fear shook her deeply. Heihachi realized there was another way to strengthen her. Even though there was a bad feeling about it, agreeing seemed worth it if it would make her stronger. The process of merging with the girl's body has started. No one understood what was happening. Tingling spread across her body. Stopping was impossible. He asked her to let go. Still, she said her body was ready for a fight. She sets out to hunt immediately. The excitement was intense. Even Heihachi couldn't calm her down. Estelle mentioned she liked this burst of energy, and Shisua asked where the hunt would take place. The place was unusually crowded today. Some people were surprised to see others had also come. The team saw Jesus' squad, a group they had not seen for a long time. The first thing he mentioned was that Estelle was still here and just as charming. The girl tried to remember his name. Realizing their dislike was his own fault, he turned his attention to the girl on their team, asked her to introduce herself, and felt glad to meet her. She greeted him too, and he responded enthusiastically, saying he was pleased. That greedy look in his eyes made her uncomfortable. The boy said he was simply admiring her beauty. Her anger grew even stronger because he kept staring. Other members of his team, Sumika and Gauss, also introduced themselves. Someone noticed that Haichachi was not nearby and assumed he was not there today. After speaking, the young man placed his hand on his shoulder. Everyone believed this was their new ally. Still, something about it felt strange and not quite right. Seeing him in that outfit surprised everyone. Only then did everyone understand. Haichachi had decided to become a tank. It was an interesting idea, but it did seem a bit risky to walk around the city like that. Haichachi himself did not think it was a problem. It was explained to him that wandering around the city like that could easily land him in jail. This really surprised Heihachi, who didn't realize how serious things were. Others disagreed as well, so it was necessary to remove the helmet. Megiru thought Estelle was very sweet. Estelle was glad to hear it, but she suggested they stop hugging, although the girl had no intention of letting go. Suddenly, she asked Haichachi if he knew what the duties of a tanka were. Unsure, he guessed that maybe pain just has to be endured. Then he realized he actually had no idea what the tank is doing. The first step was to explain what it means to be a tank. The basics came first. What a tank actually is. Curiosity drew him to see what was happening. Jusis apologized, as he always does when the topic of tanks comes up. It looks like something interesting is being discussed. She would like to talk to him if she gets the opportunity. Narelle laughed and called her funny. The administrator saw that everyone had arrived and assumed they were all busy, asked if anyone needed anything. An important task has been assigned. Some regions are starting to show signs of the Great Destruction. To prevent this, a request has been made to eliminate the monsters. One of the girls asked what the Great Destruction was. Deus was surprised she had never heard of it. There are two types. The first is the appearance of an extremely powerful monster, and the second is a large invasion of creatures that can cause significant damage. The goal is to eliminate a group of monsters in the area where stone goblins are usually found. Teams of rank B are recommended for this task. The request was made for Jususu and Okura to take on this mission. Okura felt surprised by how difficult the task was since two groups were involved. The girl mentioned the recent strange events connected to monsters. For example, in the area where Okura defeated Asterios, reports have recently appeared about creatures that should not be there at all. It seems that something like this has already happened before. The guild leader warned about this and advised caution. Jesus agreed and asked Okura for an opinion. The decision was made. They would join in too. Megiru doubted she could complete the mission while working on the same team as Estelle. She felt certain that luck was on her side today. She was told not to overexert herself. Megiru was ready to stand up for Estelle. The walk turned out to be more tiring than expected, but she enjoyed it. Emma had heard about Gauss's experience. She wanted to talk to him. She asked what the strongest attack he had ever faced was. As Gauss started talking about his work, his whole demeanor seemed to brighten. Megiru felt happy to meet them and show her strength. Yuru fired the first shot, took out 3 enemies at once with a single strike. The result came as a surprise. She said she was just hitting like she always did and never expected those monsters to explode. Everyone was surprised by what happened. Heihachi pointed out that before, they did not explode. It seemed the team was starting to accept them. Estelle suggested maybe they had received some kind of upgrade. People have already forgotten about this. Not long ago, he tried to change the title. This seemed impossible before. Haichachi chose Gensek because that role provides the best buffs. On the surface, it looks like he is also working for the Dace group. This could have worked. Norel understood that he was planning something again. If Haichachi figured it out, Jusis and the team also hunt rare monsters, so they will collect even more magic stones. As the team grows, so does the number of challenges. Estelle noticed his ability to quickly understand the situation when needed. Shizuka agreed and said the idea was great. Others joined in the conversation as well. The discussion covered their strong allies. Excitement for the upcoming mission grew. Jesus replied that they were also looking forward to working together. A few days later, they reached their destination. The thought came as a shock. Destroying them all would be necessary. With so many monsters around, the leader must have already shown up. When a group of monsters reaches the level of great destruction, one of them usually becomes the main one. This monster is called the pack leader. The main goal is clear: defeat him. At the same time, Jesus pointed out that possible destruction must not be ignored. The decision was made to eliminate them with one strong strike. One of the girls was already preparing to finish off the enemies with magic. Heihachi stopped her, asked her not to use magic unnecessarily, and passed on the request to the others. Suggested looking to the left where a giant and a red goblin can be seen among the others. These are definitely rare. He wants to make sure that stones will drop not only from Jusus's enemies but from others too. A sudden surge of energy filled me thanks to Estelle's support of magic. Higuru went too far, and even Estelle was surprised by her reaction. Heihachi told Jususu that he and Narelle would be at the front while Higuru and the others would support them from behind. He told the girls not to overwork themselves. He trusted them to handle things. The plan is now in motion. Realized that Estelle's support truly means something special. At first, it seemed like this would be the easiest task. Their team was incredibly strong, almost to the point of madness. After the last battle, it was clear to him that Narelle was strong. But Jusus had no idea just how strong she really was. Awkwardness filled the moment when Dell realized she still had not fully opened up. Reminded him that the battle is not over yet. The number of stones collected did not match at all. There was probably a certain condition. Okura was called in so they could show him something. Among the crowd of monsters, Lord of the Goblins stood out the most. The number of opponents grew many times, and it seemed that among them there was another leader. Realizing it made no sense to fight two groups at once, the decision was made to retreat. Deciding whether to stay or retreat is up to Okuri. If the fighting continues, most of the work will fall to them. So far, the priestess has not found any magic stones. Also, if they retreat, the nearby villages could be in danger. This was the first time they faced such a large group. Jusus and the others were tired. The boy felt unsure about what to do next. He believed that was the end. Narelle was unsure if they could manage. Estelle had not used her magic to the fullest for a long time, while Shisu approached it calmly and simply did what was needed. Heihachi decided to go into battle. They will start with Shisu's explosive magic, and once there are fewer enemies, they will move forward and attack. Asked the girl to give her best effort today. The team was supposed to follow them. Shisu wanted to join as well, but Hachi decided she would stay back and help heal their allies. The plan involved using explosive magic. Seeing this, Jesus felt surprised. The monster attacked him from behind. Everyone told him to fall back and cover the rear. The Lord also joined the fight and threw a spear at the enemy. They realized they had gone too far. A smile appeared on the boy's face when he saw her worry, but he knew everything was under control. She asked him to be careful. The explosion was too strong for Heihachi to handle. Being thrown into the air, a hard landing is certain. He tried to stay in the air. Others saw Okura was flying. Miguru thought he needed help. Delphote also realized she should help him. Oral took on the responsibility of saving the leader, which was why she felt nervous. She told them to hold on tight. The fight and the flight will go on. The way she could fly so high surprised him. Stella explained it was a special skill. If Narelle was this impressed, it meant the end was near. Valkyrie Neuralphania gained a new skill after 2 gachapon upgrades, an aura that boosts all stats by 3 times for 10 minutes. They really put up a good fight while flying. Turned back to him. It seemed like something was still wrong, even after everything that had happened. The conversation turned to what happens after the skills wear off. The guy said it was now his turn to carry her. Everyone was shocked, and he joined them. Watched Shisu skillfully fighting the monster. Looks like there is no hope. She received an award for her outstanding success in defeating the enemy. In total, there are 40 million branches. It was hard for her to believe they were really the ones. The administrator also mentioned there was proof of defeating the Goblin Lord, so the amount made sense. Even after splitting with the Daos team, they still have 20 million gil left, which is a huge amount of money. Narelle believes the Kuraskai deserve everything, but Heihachi insists that it should be divided equally. Jusus disagrees, saying nothing would have worked out with their help. They are just a burden and do not deserve a full share. Shizuka laughs and says that if they are a burden, then what about Hikachi, who was knocked away by a spear? Without his armor, Estelle's magic would not have worked. Together, they are strong. So Heihachi is asked to take half and instead stay with them a little longer. The young man agrees not to touch the gold for now and decides to live with them for a while. The team throws a big celebration for their victory. Estelle jokes, suggesting Narelle should not overeat out of guilt. That hungry she-wolf is finally allowed to eat as much as she wants, with Jesus giving her permission to satisfy her hunger fully. Owing Narelle-san a big favor for saving his life, he now officially allows a festive, all-you-can-eat event. The girl just shrugs, not caring, as she stopped counting calories a long time ago. At the same time, Shizuo walks up to Okura and asks if he would like to share a drink. This is a 30-year-old wine with a wonderful taste, but he waves it away, saying he cannot handle alcohol well. She insists, calls him dear, and pours another drink. Approaching quietly from behind, she wraps her arms around him, and Heihachi feels awkward as her chest touches his back. Jusus does not notice anything unusual, but the others manage to catch this scene. Migiru wonders out loud if she should become a priestess like Shizuka, since they have power and respect. Gauss quickly reassures her. Nuriel notices that Okura is starting to blush and distracts Shizuo by saying, "Look over there." Seeing the boy's gentle, nostalgic expression made Shizuka suddenly feel a sharp pang of jealousy. Quickly stepping back, she apologized for hugging too much. Nuriel was thanked, and it was mentioned that Okura still had not eaten, so this would be a good opportunity to feed him myself. Hikachi tastes it and agrees it is really delicious. Nuriel quickly offers the plate to Migiru and says there is plenty of juicy meat. She quickly went to get the meat, and the evening passed in a warm and friendly atmosphere. The total amount came to 1,150,000 hryvnias. As expected, Nuriel's stomach is completely full. Heihachi offered to pay half, but Jesus reminded him that he was rude at their first meeting, so this year he would cover the whole bill as a true gentleman. Heihachi called his action heroic. It was clear to Shizuka that it was time to say goodbye, but their adventures were far from over. Shizuka laughed and said she would happily hug Estelle again. Estelle waved her off, joking that she had been hugged enough for now. It had been a long time since they had a real conversation, so they agreed to meet again soon. Shizuka gladly agreed, while Sumika promised to train hard so she could become just as skilled. It was time for everyone to go their separate ways. Jesus was grateful for today because without Okura and the team, things could have turned into a real disaster. If anything happens, let us know right away. Do not hesitate to rely on us. We will help however we can. Heihachi admitted he did not expect to have so much fun just by doing his small part. Nuriel leaned against him, swaying slightly. The boy was surprised she could still walk, but she had healed herself with her own magic. Getting a little drunk is not so bad, she smiled. Hikachi noted that healing magic is truly a long-lasting spell, and the conversation shifted to drinking. Estelle teased Shizuka by saying she used to act up with her brother. The priestess felt embarrassed and assured her that nothing like that ever happened. Narelle suggested talking as long as it takes, even until morning. Shizuka ran away screaming, blaming the alcohol for betraying her. After the girls left, Okura went back to looking at his phone, noticed a message about the Great Conquest, and a reward for reaching an achievement. Those who finished the mission received 2 bonuses right away. "The lottery is back!" he announced with excitement. He got 50 magic stones and a discount on a spin. The discount applies to just 1 stone, so the difference is small, he explained with disappointment. Nuriel teased, asking who Estelle was worth giving up for. Greedy. He honestly said he would not lie right now. The young man was surprised to learn that rewards could come from outside the lottery. There were other events, even mazes, that offered prizes. He began to wonder how this system really worked. "Going all out this time?" Estelle asked. The Heihachi festival came to his mind, and he plans to tell the others about it. This time, everyone gets just 1 spin each. Everyone is surprised that there is no carnival spam. Estelle doubts that Heihachi will do it only once. The draft is now focused on specific items, and the value of SSR items has not increased, so it is okay to skip this event. However, for special events, it is important to know your limits. Nuriel reminds Shizuka about her first time. Heihachi suggests starting with her. The girl quickly pulls out a handful of rare items. Staying calm is difficult. Shizuho deliberately tries to press further. "Let me touch it, even just with my fingertip," she pleads. "It would be cruel if my first time ended like this." Estelle realizes that Shizuko is just as restless as Haichachi. After a quick joke, the guy sighs and says it is impossible to relax for even a second. Nuriel just laughs and says, "Look at your situation now, how can you complain?" Estelle feels sorry for poor Shisaka, but the adventures are only getting started. The group eagerly continued collecting new items. With Mafa's help, they got only one SSR. Shisua shrugged and said that one was enough. Ta Okura promised they always have at least one, and this time they will get another one for sure. Shisua joked that they should stop tempting fate, but the boy trusted in his destiny. The girl could not stall any longer, and Heihachi, who had already stopped Shisaku, was not going to allow it now. They agreed that everyone would get just one try. Since SSRs started appearing, maybe something even rarer would come up. He insisted they spin again. Suddenly Shisaku was tied up, and Okura wondered why he was being punished. Nuriel suggested taking a moment to calm down, while Heikachi pleaded to be untied and given another chance to try. The team asked if the punishment was too mild. Both Shizuka and Nuriel did not understand what was going on. The frightened boy kept apologizing. Estelle suggested letting him go because he promised he understood his mistake. Nuriel agreed and said, "All right, untie me." Now she wanted to see the lottery prize for herself. The girls enjoyed delicious sweets together. As expected, the lottery treats are out of this world, but only one treat is allowed per day. With a sigh, Shizuka realized they only got one SSR, but at least they received a module to expand their living space. Without a home, nothing makes sense, joked Heihachi. So Nuriel suggested they should just buy a house. With plenty of money after the big conquest, Estelle sees a good opportunity. Until now, Heikachi had never even considered his own home. In his previous life, living in a small apartment was the norm, so the thought of having a real house felt strange. "Let's buy it," he said. "Tell me what you want to see and I will consider your suggestions." Suddenly, the thought came to mind that this was the first time alone with Estelle. The reason why this mattered was not clear. All this time, Nuriel and Shizuka were with them too. For the first time, the two of them were now alone together. Headed to the real estate agent and chose the one who seemed the most reasonable, deciding not to discuss the others. He asked what kind of housing they were looking for. Estelle wanted a house closer to the Adventurers Guild, preferably a private cottage. She asked if there was anything suitable available. The realtor was told that the space is for 4 or more residents. The intermediary started looking for options. The best house was valued at 90 million gil. Heikachi realized that housing in the capital is very expensive. With their budget, every option will need careful consideration. Heichachi started thinking about choosing a house outside the capital, where it would be quieter and less expensive. He told the girls the plan was to head to the town of Brunn and look for a place to stay there. Hano remembered that they once lived in Bruni, and since Shisuha has never been there, this is a great opportunity. They are leaving tomorrow. Nuriel shuddered at the memory of the carriage shaking, afraid it might happen again. This time, Tahaichachi promised there would be no bruises and no wheels, riding on a magic carpet. Shizuka wanted to know how long the flight would take. According to the atlas, it was just over 2 days. To avoid getting lost, Heihachi will leave magical markers along the path. The journey actually took 3 days because the wind was against us. Shisua looked around and said that this place felt calm and peaceful. Heihachi felt comfortable too, as if he were at home. The calmness of Bruno gave the girl a wonderful first impression of both the city and herself. Everyone feels tired, so Heihachi suggests they spend the night and look at the houses in the morning. A realtor shows a spacious cottage priced at 7 million, just 5 minutes from the guild. Compared to the 90 million in the capital, it was almost for free. Nuriel feels glad and is thankful for Estelle's advice. Heichachi invites you to take a look inside the house. The house turns out to be completely empty. No bed, no furniture, not even a bathroom. Just bare walls and a floor. Some places still have dust, and outside the weeds have grown as high as my knees. Nuriel suggests starting with cleaning. Estelle agrees right away, planning to sweep away the dust using wind magic. Fear takes over Heichachi, worried the house will explode. The girl calmly promises she has everything under control. Estelle polishes the windows while Nuriel scrubs the floor until it shines. Shizuka thinks it will take all day to weed the yard. While sweeping, Estelle spots something unusual beneath the floorboards. The discovery makes her scream in fear. Hearing the scream, Heikachi quickly rushes to the girl. Estelle grabs his hand tightly, fear in her eyes, and says, "Over there." Something black and fast jumps out of the darkness. The creature quickly rushes towards Shisua. The creature breaks through the wall, trying to reach its target. Shizuka grabbed Haikachi's hand and begged for help as the creature crawled right under her clothes. The young man felt confused about how to deal with this troubling thing. At last, he pulled it out. It was just an ordinary cockroach. He muttered that there was no need to panic. Finding one usually means there are many more hidden somewhere else. That's just how it works. The girls realized the monsters had surrounded them, so all their hopes were with Narelle. Cleaning turned out to be harder than fighting the boss. Exhaustion left Narelle completely worn out. Shisua sighed and admitted she expected an easy cleanup, but these cockroaches turned out to be truly disgusting. After the main cleaning, Heihachi suggested expanding the house using magic. Otherwise, we will have to squeeze together at the inn, he said, turning on the expansion device. Nothing seemed to change at first glance, leading to disappointment among the girls. In a moment, Heihachi realized he needed to turn the gacha items into points and then use those points. The system let users trade items for points and use those points to buy upgrades. The cost of one room was 1,000 points, which surprised everyone. This is equal to 10 SR items or 100 R items, so it is not very cheap. With excitement, Narelle suggested giving it a try while Haikachi started converting the supplies. A portal opened in front of them and a new room appeared. Narelle checked everything and confirmed that the construction is complete. The interior looked like a modern apartment from his old world, which felt strange. Stepping outside, the outer walls remained the same. Estelle suggested it seems like a pocket-sized dimension inside. The thought that a house could grow quietly inside without anyone noticing made Haikachi feel uneasy. They decided this house would be their new base. The setup process began with adding furniture, shelves, and lights. After everything was set up, the boy asked what else was needed. The girls all replied together, bathroom. Heihachi installed a new shower unit, and after the tour, looked forward to trying it out himself. The ladies, exchanging excited glances, hurried to try out the bathtub together. Estelle summed up that buying this house was the best idea as she splashed water. People were surprised to see Narelle still wearing an eye patch even while bathing. It turned out she is shy and only takes it off when she is alone, so Narelle feels comfortable being by herself. With a joking tone, Shisua suggested to Narelle to take off the bandage and see for herself. The girl did not realize that expanding further would require many more items, making it time to check the inventory. After the bath, everyone felt great, but Shisua still waved to Heihachi and said he could take a dip too. Everyone feels so comfortable here that they are already thinking about expanding the space even further. Estelle added that new twists are necessary and she will need to spin some more. Grabbing Narelle by the hand, Haikachi looked surprised and asked if this was really what Narelle wanted too. Narelle suggested spinning a bit more, just as he expected. At last, Shisua understood his excitement and smiled. Estelle gave a quick wink, saying there's no need to feel shy since everyone is in the same situation. To meet everyone's expectations, Heihachi promises to find a new, good hunting spot. The group likes this idea. Sometimes having a little fun can actually be good, Nuriel concluded, thinking back on their jokes. But what if the next prank suddenly gets out of hand, especially since a new event is coming up soon? Special quest. Heihachi opens the menu and says, "Let's check the map." A detailed map of the area appears on the screen. Clearly, something is bound to go wrong here. The hints are very obvious. Only 2 days are left until the event, so mistakes are almost certain. There is no time to waste. Estelle is worried that Heihachi might do something reckless in the heat of the moment. Missing out on such a treasure would be unthinkable. The risk is worth it. In this quest, 2 adventurers need to defeat 10 goblins. One of them mutters that they will take care of them quickly. The forest feels a bit eerie today, but my partner reassures me, saying this is nothing unusual. The goblins are finally coming out, time to strike. So far, no one has managed to complete this mini-raid. At the same time, the clerk warns Mr. Gurin to be careful. That is the moment he is called into the hall. He had no idea that he would meet Okura again. From the conversation, it becomes clear that the young man has settled here, and now his team includes a mage, a priestess, and even more beauty. Gurin looks surprised and asks, "Where did you find such a beautiful lady?" Okura, feeling a bit shy, replies, "We just met recently." Gurin asks if they have noticed anything strange lately. If so, it is better to say it right away. Okura asks if this is about those strange goblins. For the first time, Heihachi learns about the existence of unusual goblins, marking the beginning of a new intrigue. Goblins are now using swords, bows, and other weapons, attacking adventurers more often. It is safer to avoid their forest, but Okura feels even more certain that this is the right place. Everything matches the hints on the phone, just like a mutation quest. The team takes off on the carpet and heads straight to Goblin Forest to figure out what is happening. Neural notices that lately, Heihachi seems eager to tackle every problem, as if he is in a hurry. Rumor has it the guild has already sent a B-rank team there to investigate. If they close the quest early, the Heihachi prize will be missed. Shizuka teases by calling him greedy. The boy explains that he just wants a fair reward, though saying it out loud feels uncomfortable. In truth, the action is not done for personal gain, but it is hard to admit that out loud. The forest reminds Nurel of a past failure. Heihachi feels regret about what happened, while Shisua is excited about the new adventure. Estelle, meanwhile, keeps cursing the insects. There is no sign of goblins anywhere, and Nuriel starts to doubt if they are real. Shizuka thinks they might have taken a wrong turn in the forest, but then notices something sneaking up from behind. Looking around, the place seems empty, but nearby a goblin archer is already taking aim. Shizuka warns Estelle about the danger in time. An arrow whizzed by, and Estelle was pulled back just in time. A goblin with a sword appears, confirming the rumors. Checking his phone, Heihachi sees them running away. He guesses they are probably heading to the lair. The team decides to follow them. Nuriel picks up many signals, which means enemies are nearby, so they had to come here. She suggests crawling into the burrow. Someone is already watching them from afar. Heihachi lights a high-quality magic lantern to brighten the path. The girls are curious about who dug this tunnel. Norel worries the ceiling might collapse. In the darkness, goblins attack them again. They manage to hold on for a while, until suddenly everything changes. The monsters unleash a powerful magic blast. So, there is a sorcerer among the enemies, which was to be expected. Conclusion. These are black goblins, a unique subspecies. Sisuha senses strong magic stones nearby and announces a hunt. The opponents turned out to be easy to defeat because their armor could not withstand the attack. The cleaning was so effective that even Heihachi was surprised. The team moved through the enemies like a storm. Without delay, they quickly chase after the fleeing wizard. The path leads into a strange underground chamber. Nuriel notices that the walls look like a classic dungeon. The adventure is just beginning. The team felt stuck until the goblin mage triggered a hidden mechanism and glowing runes suddenly lit up all around them. Bright circles trapped their space like a cage as the goblin's joy burst out in loud, victorious cries. The moment of triumph was interrupted as the circle disappeared and the monsters stopped in surprise. In a single second, a mysterious shadow defeated them all before any goblin could make a sound. Someone quietly called him the master of the hook's power, chosen by the gods, amazed by what he could do. After teleporting, Heihachi and Shisaku landed hard on the stone floor of the dungeon. The girl landed right on the boy, and at first did not understand what had happened. Realizing what had happened, she quickly stood up, her face red with embarrassment, and apologized. Embarrassment almost overwhelmed Heihachi, but Shisaka suggested they forget about what happened and focus on figuring out where they were. In that moment, it became clear to him that Norel and Estelle were gone. The teleport had scattered them, planned to set up a beacon but ran out of resources, remembered the long-range radio. The answering machine said in a flat voice that the person could not be reached. Shisaka reassured everyone that the girls are strong and they are all right. Yes, the conversation is about Norel-san and Estelle-san, Heihachi agreed, taking a deep breath. Apologizing for causing a panic, she suggested starting the search and promised to protect Okura-san. In a nearby tunnel, Norel called out for help, her voice full of panic. The group tried to split up, but once again the radio stayed silent. Estelle whispered that they needed to find them as soon as possible, feeling worried about the boy who always gets into trouble. Suddenly, a huge boulder rolled toward the girls, knocking loose stones from the ceiling. Meanwhile, Heihachi and Shisaka realized how lonely it felt without Norel and Estelle. The boy often doubted himself, even though he fought well. Shisaka saw more potential in him than he realized. She sensed that his uncertainty was holding back his strength and pictured him saying, "I will protect you." She wanted to hear those words, but Heihachi understood that Shisaka was actually stronger. Smiling, she said she is also a girl and wants to feel supported. The boy blushed when someone openly said his shyness was the reason for his silence for the first time. The girl laughed and told everyone to stop daydreaming and move on. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the dark hallway as something large moved closer. Seeing a person here was completely unexpected. The figure looked suspicious, probably not a demon, more likely a B-rank adventurer sent to investigate. A stranger leaned in and whispered, "Accept the mask touched by the void as a gift to the Logos," his words carrying a dark and mysterious tone. Shizuka did not understand what he meant. A stranger dreamed about the endless treasures of Pandora and the demon's eye that would create the Legion of God. He predicted that a destructive darkness would fall over the souls of sinners. Delighting in his own horror, he hissed that your creatures will become victims and disappear. The girl still did not understand what these strange threats were about. Concerned for Narelle and Estelle, Hikachi suggested they keep moving. Shizuka agreed. They apologized to the stranger, saying they had urgent matters and needed to leave. In an instant, a spell burst out from him, nearly tearing Heihachi's body apart. The cold water helped him recover quickly, and soon he was feeling better, though the shock stayed with him. Anger started rising in Heihachi, realizing that this man was clearly not an adventurer. This really worried him because the stranger seemed to be anyone except someone from the guild. The Shizuka charged forward to attack, but a girl in a coat appeared out of nowhere and stopped her. The face of the stranger seemed familiar to Hikachi. She told the master she felt worried when he acted alone. He replied that she had lost her way. Shizuka warned Hikachi that the girl was not ordinary as she belonged to the Maiden Corps. In other words, a character of the same type as Shizuka herself. Meanwhile, deep inside the maze, monsters wandered everywhere, and the other girls skillfully defeated them. Narelle and Estelle had to run away from a large boulder rolling down the corridor after them. Suddenly, Estelle remembered that Shizuka knows that girl. Meet Sylvie Rock, an ultra-rare character from Female Corps. Heihachi remembered how many stones he had spent trying to get Sylvie. "Don't even ask if it worked," he said, waving the question away. Since Sylvie is with that guy, he must be the same kind of gacha player as Heihachi. The boy realized that his opponent also accepted the invitation and has his own goal in this world. Clearly, this person is after the magic stones and wants to take them all. The stranger confidently said that as long as the Genesis Guild exists, all of Arcadia already belongs to the Master, Sylvie added, getting ready to fight. That not only this labyrinth, but all the treasures in the world would be his. Anger rose in Heihachi, as he insisted that no one should decide for everyone else what belongs to whom. He got ready to deal with the troublemaker right then and there. Sylvie quickly dodged the first strike and the fight began. Both girls moved into a decisive clash at the same moment. Heihachi said, "I will be her opponent. Now it is your turn to rest." The Shizuka had helped him many times before, so now he wanted to return the favor. The stranger quickly grabbed the boy and tossed him into the air like a doll. The strength of the enemy surprised Heihachi, making him wonder if this person was a mage. Meanwhile, the girl duo and Sylvie traded powerful blows. Shizuka admitted that Sylvie is a worthy opponent. Breaking the priestess is not easy as she healed herself and reduced the damage. Sylvie chose to wear down her opponent by attacking until the opponent ran out of mana. Noticing the opponent using gacha relics, Heihachi realized he could do the same. Activated the wind bracelet, but it only scratched the stranger a little. The opponent has quietly set up their own territory, creating a field full of traps. The boy did not even notice when it happened as the explosion stunned everyone. Shizuka quickly checked Okura to see if he was all right. It became clear that two people had been caught in the trap, making its power twice as strong. Estelle and Narelle have just escaped from a stone trap somewhere deeper inside. Estelle shivered at the sight of a pit filled with spikes. Nuriel noticed they had come a long way inside. The girls felt worried about their friends, but believed they were staying strong. On the battlefield, Shizuka and Sylvie continued trading blows. Suddenly, a spark jumped out from the wall as the seals started to break. Hikachi realized that, although not very strong, it was still his job to protect Shizuka. The girl had already healed herself, but the torn fabric on her chest made it hard for Hikachi to stay focused. He was unsure where to look. The stranger mocked the boy's so-called unstoppable power and ordered Sylvia to remove the restraints. Shizuka sensed a dangerous shift and became alert. Something strange emerged from the darkness, completely unlike anything Sylvie could do. No one could figure out what this entity was. Shizuka wondered how something like this ended up in the goblin maze. Calling out to Heihachi, she warned that the main danger is still ahead. It turned out to be a goblin giant, strong enough to match a behemoth. Shizuka suggested making peace, saying now is not the time to argue, and that they should focus on defeating the monster together first. "Time to get even," decided Heihachi as he activated the punishment mode. Sylvie and the master slipped away, leaving the boy alone with the goblin behemoth. The boy felt annoyed and thought they were cowards. Shizuka assessed the situation. The monster's attack power is 4,500, 1.5 times higher than Sylvie's. The conclusion is clear: time to run. Barely able to stand after the fight, they faced a monster still full of strength. A direct attack would mean certain death. The goblin hippopotamus smashed the tunnels as if they were made of cardboard. "How long will he keep chasing us?" sighed Shizuka. They realized they couldn't escape from him and had to destroy him. "Armor is 9,000. Magic cannot break through, so aim directly at the goblin." Haichachi admitted that the wind bracelet will not have enough power. The bracelet's arrows kept missing the target. Shizuka asked for more accurate aiming. Suddenly, a loud noise came from around the corner. Maybe it was Nurel with Estelle, so they hurried toward the sound. At the same time, the girls also lost sight of the boys. Shizuka muttered that the monster was as stubborn as a mule. No one knew how much longer he would keep chasing them. She looked very tired, and a thought troubled Heihachi about whether he could actually protect her. A plan formed to distract the monster. "His plan was to lure him in while you fill it with dynamite," he explained. "If Shizuka puts all the magic powder into the explosives, there is a chance." She looked worried and asked if he would survive. Heikachi promised he would not fall after just one blow, though he still had doubts. His honesty made the girl feel unsure. Shizuka whispered, blushing that those were exactly the words she wanted to hear. She picked up the magic dynamite and got ready. Heihachi gathered his courage and ran to distract the big guy. Grabbing the giant paw, held back the blow and called out for Shizuko to hurry. The girl leapt forward like a cat and shoved the explosive right into the monster's mouth, saying this was a gift for following her. The explosion tore through the corridor. Shizuka realized the job was done. There was a quiet thought. Why did you take such a risk? Heichachi explained there was no other choice. Shizuka still pointed out it was dangerous, but it worked. The sound of the explosion led Nurel and Estelle to find them. Nurel remembered being in a similar situation before, and thankfully everyone made it out alive. Even Shizuka was barely holding on. Nurel asked who those two in cloaks were. Shizuka replied she did not know, but said they dreamed about treasures. A system alert appeared for Heikachi. His face grew tense as a new danger approached. The quest was suddenly marked as failed when another player ended the event, causing both the anomaly and the goblin maze to disappear. The stranger was overjoyed as the Legion of Revival moved one step closer. It turned out that the strange quest disappears as soon as someone finishes it. Shizuka realized that those two must have taken all the awards. She promised that at their next meeting, escaping would no longer be possible for them. The stranger wanted more quests and even stronger gacha items. Will form the perfect team and move everyone else aside. A skeptical laugh came from Heihachi, saying that is what villains always say. The unusual quest ended in failure with no rewards. Now it was important to find out where those two came from. Heihachi remembered Sylvia's words that all the treasures in the world belong to the master. Their goals are unclear, but they will likely cross paths again, especially since they took all the trophies while he was fighting the hippopotamus. The most annoying thing was that the opponent knocked out Sylvie, but left Heihachi untouched. In this mood, all you feel like doing is spinning the gacha. That's when a notification popped up. The event has started right on time. Nurel noticed that Okura seemed anxious again. Estelle asked what was wrong this time, noticing that the expression on his face was even more serious than usual. The boy focused on his phone, carefully reading the event rules. The girls did not understand why things got so serious because of gacha. He explained that this is a full gacha. Collecting all the special items from the list earns you the ultra prize. In his world, actions like these were so dangerous that even the government would step in. At one time, the same thing happened to him. Every time, he ended up with the same results, and even using the magic card only made him spend more. Eventually, there was no money left for food. Shizuka did not understand everything, but the words full gacha sounded tempting. Estelle suggested simply not joining. Heihachi was almost ready to agree, but then hesitated. The timing of Luna-chan's arrival was perfect. Back then, Luna-chan was the one he tried so hard to get but never succeeded. Now she comes as a reward for completing the full gacha. Missing out would be a mistake. With 9,000 gems, it's possible to make 15 sets of 11 pulls each. Shizuka spun first, and there are high hopes for her. This time, Heihachi felt sure he would finally meet Luna-chan. The first attempt did not get Shizuka the item she needed. The girl felt disappointed and said she failed, just like Okura Dono. The boy disagreed, saying he had a bit more luck. Shisuha realized that if you approach gacha the same way, you will get the same results. On the second try, Shizuka finally managed to get one of the needed items. Narelle really hit the jackpot by getting two much-needed items at once. Hikachi called Narelle amazing, while Shizuka, feeling a bit jealous, joked that she would even drink tea made from the dust of Narelle's feet if it could bring her the same luck. Now 3 out of 5 items are already secured, with only the SR item and SSSR rank left. Estelle reassured that there was no need to worry. The success rate of the spins was higher than expected, with no failures at all. Heihachi joked that it felt like the whole universe had turned into a lucky artifact. What's more, Mafa found the right item on his 4th try, which brought a wave of admiration and endless compliments from the boy. Shizuka gently stopped Heihachi from hugging the rabbit too much. Now, only the USSR room outside of time remains. The Hikachi queue has 4 packs, each offering 11 spins. Confidence filled him as he thought, "This will be easy. We are going to end this carnival now." The first loot drop only gave a flaming glove artifact. Shizuka insisted that this was also important. Heihachi pointed out that the same number had already appeared before, a double. Surprised to see the same item drop 2 times in a row. Next time will be better, he told himself. Landing a twist with no mistakes seemed almost impossible, but only 3 attempts remained. The second and third tries also ended up with duplicates. Stress was high. Estelle now understood why her brother had been so worried about a full gacha. For a moment, Hikachi suspected the odds had been changed, but there was still one more attempt left. The biggest fear is never meeting Luna-chan, even in this world. So, retreat was not considered. The guaranteed SSSR drop delivered a completely different item. Silence filled the room. Anger filled Hikachi as he demanded to know where his Luna-chan was. Narelle reminded that there were no stones left. The boy pleaded for one more try. Clearly upset, he began to lose his composure and started a minor outburst. Estelle suggested having a strategy meeting. Shizuka stated that the game is over without the stones. But Heihachi insisted that in the next 5 days, he would collect a new batch of stones. Narelle gently suggested that it might be time to give up, but the boy stood firm, saying they had already invested too much to turn back now. The plan is to keep farming non-stop and keep spinning. The team sighed but agreed to support him since that was his decision. 5 days of searching for stones lie ahead, along with another chance to see Luna-chan. Narelle sighed and said, "You still want more after so many rounds. I can't handle a marathon anymore." Heihachi reassured everyone, saying the lesson was learned and now there was a plan. He explained that newcomers will also be able to collect stones, and the team will keep track of what they gather. Introduced everyone. Alumino and Camila are the people they are responsible for. Heihachi smiled, pleased to see the new recruits learning under his guidance, knowing they were in good hands. Asking people to kill black orcs sounds unusual, but for them it is a simple task. Heihachi added that there are reasons for this, so please accept the quest. Shizuka suggested reaching out to Mr. Green for formal approval. Having more people helps to farm faster, but if someone outside your group finishes off the monster, the stone will not drop. We've tested this with Dios's team, so for now, we are working on our own. Everyone agreed to go back to the old plan. Shizuka liked the idea and promised to invite Green-san to help make things easier. The place looked disturbing, with nothing but holes in the ground and a strong, unpleasant smell. This is a whole nest of monsters. Hitting it could release a swarm. Narelle waved her hand, trusting that the night would handle things quickly, and knowing the counting would only start when the black orcs appeared. Heihachi was the first to get their attention, allowing the others to finish the job. The orcs' strike turned out to be much stronger than expected, making the boy whistle in surprise. The spark came from Estelle's boost. Support brings confidence. Estelle is truly amazing, he agreed. Stones rarely fell because when several people were killed at once, the loot did not increase. Camilla showed the ring to Heihachi. The Guardian's ring sparkled on her finger, catching Heihachi's attention immediately. Camilla shrugged and said she got it recently and asked if it mattered. The guy realized it was special gear. How did newcomers get things like that? So the Greens quietly use up the team's time. Alumino explained that the jewelry is enchanted, so the boys wanted to test it out in the field. The special equipment surprised Heihachi, but the hunt went on. The goal is to collect as many stones as possible. Alumino skillfully defeated monsters, showing that all the training was worth it. The number of stones finally started to grow quickly. The deeper they went, the more black orcs appeared from the tunnels. This way, the team discovered a new method to quickly collect stones, with only 4 days left until the end of the full gacha event. The real marathon of collecting magical stones has begun. The team kept turning the winch almost non-stop while also collecting new stones. Shizuka noticed that Okura looked tired and became concerned. A few days passed. Stones kept falling in abundance, but the much-needed final item still did not appear, and energy was running low. Hikachi paused to think, but Narelle reminded him of his promise to save her. Suddenly, sparks started coming from Stell as something strange began to happen to her. She was ready to burn down the forest along with the monsters. "Will you be happy if I do that?" Heihachi tried to calm his friend down. Estelle insisted that they needed to destroy even more. Shizuka asked Narelle to take Estelle to the camp and said they would handle everything else themselves. The last day of the hunt ended calmly without any serious incidents. Estelle apologized for trying to help, but only making things more difficult. Heihachi admitted that he should be the one to apologize for not noticing how tired she was. Now it was time to follow the plan. Balance, 150 stones, which is enough for 3 multi-spins. Nurel and Mafa, the happiest ones, take the first turn. The girl prayed with all her heart, hoping that this time everything would finally end. "If they cannot do it, then no one else will be able to," sighed Hikachi. Nurel reminded that she had suggested stopping a long time ago, but now it was too late. The boy could not understand why everyone looked as if the world had already ended. The optimism shown by Shisua surprised everyone and reminded them that they still had a chance. Haichachi kept just 1 multi-spin for himself, but something unexpected happened. The last package was still waiting. He suggested that Shizuka should give it a try. The girl was surprised by such trust, but the boy insisted and said that he believed in her. Even though his instincts pointed to her, Shizuka remembered she still had not pulled a single SSR. Confidence started to fade, so it was time to reveal her true self. She nodded in agreement and said she was ready to see what she could do. Estelle agreed and said that if it was Shizuka, they had every chance. Her brother's trust gave her more confidence. Remaining calm, Heihachi was the only one still hoping for a miracle. He announced that if it did not work this time, the loss would be shared by everyone, not just himself. Suddenly, Shisua's voice interrupted his speech as she pressed the button for the final rewind. At last, the extra-dimensional room appeared, and the team felt a wave of long-awaited happiness. Shizuka woke up to find Heihachi cleaning the place like crazy. Since morning, he polished everything until it shone. The house looked completely different. The girl asked to stop and call Luna-chan quickly, but first, she wants to do one more thing. Summon Luna in a new room where no one inside the house will notice. The long-awaited summoning of the Moon Girl is finally happening. An error appears on the phone screen. Hikachi explained that by applying a cost reduction, they would be able to stay within the limit. Now it is time to decide who to use it on. If it was for a spell, that was great. Shizuka thanked him, though the boy did not understand why she was so happy. Narelle and Estelle watch in amazement as they see a real military draft for the first time. Luna-chan appeared, and Heihachi quickly went over to greet her. The girl called him scary, which hurt him even though he tried hard. Estelle and Narelle also said their names. Camila brought in a few cheerful notes, hoping everyone would get along. Luna leaned in and quietly asked Heihachi what was wrong with Shizuha, glancing at her sideways. Estelle quietly warned that Shizuka was acting strangely. Shizuka tried to get closer to the new girl, but Luna sensed discomfort, pushed her away, and made it clear not to come any closer. The Moon Girl said that she is my enemy. Shizuha feels confused and does not know why Luna is upset, and Heihachi also cannot figure out the reason. Trying to comfort himself, he believes the relationship will slowly improve, suggests going for a walk with Bruno, but Luna firmly refuses. "I'm not going anywhere with Shizuha, and I don't like sunlight," she said firmly. Going hunting in caves? Still a no from her. The hunter tells the team that fighting is not her thing. Heihachi assumes she will not take any action, but he is mistaken. Luna said she was watching the house and now wanted to sleep, so she asked everyone to leave the room. Everyone was surprised to see that the new ally seemed ready to stay at home all the time.